Let's just get straight to it.
When we took, I indicated that we would first deal with the video if there were contested issues, and then I would deal with the objection. I'm going to reverse that order. I had an opportunity to review the cases that were that Ms. Stone alluded to in her argument to me as it related to the objection. I was provided copies of those. I was provided copies of State versus Hager, 171 Washington 2nd, 151, 2011, I believe. State versus Clark, 143 Washington 2nd, 731, a 2001 case, and State versus Young, which is a 1978 case, 89 Washington 2nd, 613. Mr. Larry, did Ms. Stone provide you with those cases or cites to those cases?
I received copies of Young, Hager, and Clark, Your Honor. Yes.
Thank you. Do you wish to offer any further argument?
I do.
Go ahead.
So I think the difference here is, so in Clark, the court holds that when he provided conflicting accounts as to why he didn't follow Lieutenant Hegge's instructions to meet with the detective at the Dolphin House, the key was that he had offered a conflicting account in response to specific questions. And I'm just throwing out, this is on page 28 of 38
Yep.
of our copy. And so I'm looking at, looks like head note 26. With respect to Hager, I'm looking on page 7 of 10, just above head note 3. Again, defendant spoke to the police on 2 occasions prior to his arrest, gave conflicting accounts as to why he failed to meet with officers at the crime scene as he had promised. And then Young, it was this question as to whether or not he had specific knowledge of the crime, and his questions around specific knowledge. Here, the state, I think, is trying to elicit the fact that she did not provide or statements or inquire about her daughter. Factually, we know there's an incident. My client runs to the school. I anticipate that the testimony tomorrow from a witness is going to say that my client ran into the school, was told to leave, and was then said, "You cannot see your daughter." The officers who were in the parking lot talking to my client specifically, this witness never went to the school, never saw Fatima, told my client that she could not return to the school, and never asked her questions. And that's the key thing, is she didn't ask her questions. Tell me what happened. Tell me about your daughter. What did you see about your daughter? Do you have anything you want to share with me about your daughter? And so I think that is where it would get into Hager and Clark if there were questions. I mean, this is essentially saying you didn't provide a statement when you weren't asked. And so it's not relevant. I don't think it's fair. I mean, the witness said, I didn't interview her. There was a request to see the daughter, which she was shut down by the detective, by the officer. So there's not a conflicting, like, we asked you what happened, and now you're saying, I saw, a gun. Well, how come you never told us you saw a gun? That's a relevant question where there's a serious breach of, you're now offering some really different testimony, and that's just not here.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stone?
Thank you, Your Honor. Plainly, that's not the requirement of the case law. Clark says that there could be a number of different circumstances, but specifically that when you are talking about when a defendant does not remain silent, and I'm looking at head note 25, which is at page 765 of the
Okay.
opinion. When a defendant does not remain silent and instead talks to police, the state may comment on what he does not say. Then it cites to Young, it cites to Osborne, which was vacated on other grounds. Hager is also addressed as well. I let law enforcement, I let defense counsel know of an unpublished case as of recently as 2021, State versus Johnson, which restates the same thing. There is no infringement on a defendant's right to remain silent when they make statements to law enforcement, when they provide a version of events to law enforcement, and they actively do not provide other events to law enforcement. They don't make other statements to law enforcement, especially when one might expect them to make those statements. The rule does not require that questions are asked. The rule does not require that there are, and the case law does not require that there are conflicting statements. Plainly, that is not part of the analysis. It is simply once they have waived their right to remain silent, that opens the door for what the parties can inquire about what was said, how it was said, and plainly what was not said. So in this case, you're right. I believe counsel is right. Officer Chavez did not specifically inquire about the status of Fatima, but what the officers did do is consistently ask everyone present, what's going on? Can you tell me what happened? Can you tell me what's going on? And the only information provided by Mrs. Ali as to those events was what Isaiah was doing to her husband. And she was adamant, and it was repeated over and over again. Not once does she mention what her husband is doing to her daughter. That is relevant, that is significant, and it specifically goes to the interest of Miss Ali during the course of these events. It is notable, too, I would say for the state, that when we are talking about, it's not unfair, it is Mrs. Ali's statements. Mrs. Ali actively engaged, voluntarily engaged. She's not arrested. She is not in custody. It is not any part of any pre-arrest silence. She is voluntarily providing that information because she wants law enforcement to act in a certain way. When counsel argues, well, she was told she couldn't go to the school. She was also told that she couldn't go see her husband, and law enforcement had to continually intervene. She consistently declined to follow their directives. So it is absolutely relevant when we are talking, one, about where Miss Ali's interests were at the time of these events, that is inconsistent with what I anticipate the argument has been or is going to be at closing by defense counsel. It's also inconsistent with the cross-examination questions that counsel has presented during the course of this trial about Mrs. Ali saying, my daughter, as if that was her primary concern. Her interaction with law enforcement says otherwise. Additionally, we have gone through this trial having defense counsel arguing that Mrs. Ali doesn't understand English, that her ability to understand, let's say, the substance of no contact orders and trespass orders is impacted by her ability to understand English. These interactions with law enforcement specifically speak to contrary information to that knowledge, and that she's able to offer the information when she wants to offer information, and she chooses not to when she chooses not to, when that is of import to her. So the inquiries that she actually made about her daughter are relevant. The inquiries that she didn't make about her daughter, and specifically as on direct examination the state elicited, there was no objection, presumably because defense counsel believes it's helpful to them, that did Mrs. Ali say anything about her daughter? Yes, she asked to speak with her for just 1 minute. She asked me a number of times to speak with her daughter, and for just 1 minute, and then sat down. What she never asks, and what we've elicited throughout this trial, is about the condition or welfare of her daughter. Instead, her attention is focused throughout on her husband. So that is not a comment on her right to remain silent. She has waived it, and plainly a pre-arrest silence in this case does not apply. She's not in custody. She's not arrested until days later, and she is voluntarily engaging in offering up information that she believes is important to law enforcement in their investigation in this case. So I would ask the court to deny the objection.
All right, thank you. Anything further, Mr. Leary?
What I'm struggling with is the issue in Hager and Young is there's specific questions that they provided misleading answers to, and thus they're then cross-examined. They say, well, you had an opportunity to say this to this specific question, and you refused or provided a conflicting answer. This witness didn't interview my client and didn't say, I want a detailed description of what happened. She describes, that her husband was struck, but there was no discussion, there was no interview with this officer who was just beginning on the force. And so I think it's misleading to the jury to somehow say that it was incumbent upon my client to provide a narrative when not asked by Officer Chavez. And there's body-worn video, and they're not choosing to use it. That would, they're not pointing to a specific point. At this section, this is when she provided a misleading or conflicting answer or an incomplete answer. It's just that somehow she was supposed to volunteer information, and I think that's improper.
All right, thank you. There were 3 questions where there were objections. The first question was, and during the course of that, did she, and were questions to Officer Chavez related to interactions with Mrs. Ali, did she provide you a statement, meaning did she come to give you a statement? Objection sustained. I continue to sustain that objection. The next question was, during the course of your time with her, did she voluntarily speak with you? Response, yes. Mr. Leary objected. I sustained the objection. I no longer sustain that objection, and I overrule that objection. And that question should be re-asked of the witness, and she will be able to answer that question, whether or not Mrs. Ali voluntarily spoke with her. If Mrs. And we already actually know that she did, because the officer has already testified to some of their interactions and some of the statements that Mrs. Ali made voluntarily to Officer Chavez. And these cases talk about when a defendant does not remain silent and instead talks to police. It doesn't say answers questions asked by the police. It says when they talk to the police, the state may comment on what the person does not say. And that by asking those questions, it is not commenting on a right to remain silent because the person has chosen not to remain silent, and instead has chosen to voluntarily speak with law enforcement. And so in that way, I am going to be overruling the objection and allowing the witness to answer questions. I do not find that that violates Mrs. Ali's constitutional right to remain silent, does not violate, really the argument is the state commenting on a right to remain silent because she did not remain silent. Let's address the video if there is an issue as it relates to the video at this point. First, I'll ask, was there an opportunity to review the exhibit that's been referenced this morning? Ms. Stone?
Yes, Your Honor, I provided all 3 of those exhibits from Officer Bell's body camera to defense counsel. My understanding from Mr. Leary is that he is objecting to one of them. I'm not sure entirely of the base, but it may, the basis for that objection in terms of what evidence rule. But it may be that he wants to play it for the court first, and I suppose I would ask for clarification from Mr. Leary. That conversation happened literally just before the court. The review of the videos happened while the court was off the bench. The conversation about where Mr. Leary's objections might land happened just a bit before the court came in. So I'd ask Mr. Leary for clarification.
So actually, I'm going to stop you there, Mr. Leary, because I want to bring Officer Chavez back and conclude. We're at 11:20 and the jury's been in recess for quite a while. Now that I know that it's going to be a lengthier issue and that it could require me to review the video that is being objected to, that's going to take longer. So I prefer to conclude this witness, then I can let the jury go for lunch, and we can deal with the video issue at that time, and then I will fully hear from you at that time.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Please bring the jury back in. Please get your...
Thank you.
Please be seated. Members of the jury, at the time that we took our recess, there had been 3 questions, and there had been 3 objections. I sustained 2 objections, and then on the last question, I didn't rule, and that's when you went for your morning recess. You will not probably specifically remember, nor am I going to repeat what those questions were. I would indicate, however, that as to the second question where I sustained the objection, I've changed that ruling, and I'm now overruling that objection. And as to the third objection that I had not ruled on, I am overruling that objection. Ms. Stone, you may continue.
Thank you. Officer Chavez.
When we left off, I believe my question to you was, did Mrs. Ali come to voluntarily speak with you?
Yes.
And how would you describe her engagement in trying to provide you information? Meaning, eager, reluctant, something else?
She appeared eager.
Calls for speculation.
Sustained.
How did she engage with you? How would you describe that engagement?
Her initial reaction to seeing me appearing on scene was to approach me and begin to plead or beseech me.
Okay. And during that interaction, who was she expressing her concern for? When you say beseech you, about what? What does that mean?
Would you like me to tell you what she told
You
me?
can ask questions.
I see.
That's okay.
When she initially made contact with me, she asked if I recognized her, confirmed that I knew who she was, and then stated that there had been people punching her husband.
Okay. And did she describe details about what that looked like?
She made the punching motions with her hand.
Okay. And throughout that interaction with her, who, if anyone, throughout the course of the entire interaction, who, if anyone, did she express primary concern for?
Could you restate the question?
Yeah, I'll
Sorry.
rephrase that. When you interacted with Mrs. Ali, did she express concern for her husband?
Yes.
Did that seem important to her?
Yes.
During your interaction with Mrs. Ali, did she ask about the specific health of Fatima?
No.
Did she ever discuss the actions of her husband on Fatima during that period of time?
No.
And how much of your interaction with her was focused on her husband's condition and what Isaiah had done to her husband?
I would say that was her primary focus.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Kading, cross-examination.
Officer Chavez, so you got to the scene, you talked to the kids that were out front at the bus stop, right?
Correct.
You never went into the school?
I did not.
And you said you didn't know where Fatima had come from, right?
Correct.
Did you talk to any of the kids about when Zahraa arrived on scene?
How do you mean?
Okay, sorry. You can indicate you can't answer, you don't understand, but you can't ask
I
questions.
understand. I
you-
don't understand the question.
Okay, when the kids you were talking to about what happened, did they tell you when Zahraa got there?
Not specifically.
Okay. All right, no further questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Larry, cross-examination.
Thank you. So, just to follow up, you had no information about Fatima, correct? In terms of her condition, correct?
Correct.
Couldn't see her, correct?
Correct.
Didn't see what was going on inside the school, correct?
Correct.
Whether she had been seen by the fire department, correct?
Not initially, correct.
What's that?
I did not initially know her condition, no.
Okay. And so, and you never told Zahraa that you had information about her daughter, correct?
At one point I did, yes.
Okay. As to her condition?
As to her being seen by the fire department,
Okay. Did you have information as to what the results were of that?
I did not.
And did you make efforts on the radio to inquire how she was doing?
I did not.
Okay. So, but in front of her is her husband who's been handcuffed and detained, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you told her that she couldn't go to the school to check on her daughter, correct?
Correct. I told her she could not go to the school.
Right. So couldn't go to see what the fire department was doing, correct?
Correct.
You ordered her to stay away from the school.
Correct.
And she followed your directive, right?
She did.
Okay. So then, her husband has been, from the outward appearance, arrested, right?
Correct.
Right? So he's in handcuffs, correct?
Correct.
Put in the back of a squad car, correct? And she is concerned for him, right? She appears to be concerned for him, correct?
Correct.
And describing how he had been punched repeatedly in the head, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that was information that she wanted you to have to understand, you meaning collectively the police, about her husband, right?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. And I just want to be clear, you interviewed the 4 students you talked about, correct?
I interviewed 3 of them, yes.
Okay. You attempted to interview 4, you were able to interview 3 of them, correct?
Correct.
You did not conduct an interview of my client, correct?
Correct.
You didn't attempt to do an interview of her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And there were other officers present who said, we will let you talk to your husband in due course, right?
Correct.
And she said, I really want to talk to my husband. I want to know what's going on, correct?
I don't remember her exact words.
Okay. But that was what she appeared. She wanted to communicate with him, correct? All right. Who had just been detained after what she described as an incident where he was punched, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you ever tell her that she could talk to her daughter?
I said at some point she would be allowed to.
Did you tell her when?
I did not.
Okay. Nothing further.
Redirect.
Briefly, Your Honor, thank you. When you told
Mrs. Ali that fire medics were checking out her daughter, what was her reaction?
She didn't have any specific reaction.
And, but she said she was present when she saw the punches happening, is correct?
She described her husband being punched, yes.
And at the time, her husband was in a police car. He wasn't being dragged through the street or something like that. Is that fair?
Correct.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Kading, any further cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry? May this witness be excused?
subject to recall, but yes, please, Your Honor.
All right. You may step down. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Members of the jury, I know that this seems a little bit like a habit because I told you we go until noon, but you are done right now for your morning time, and I'm going to have the bailiff lead you back, and you will be in recess until we reconvene at 1:30. Thank you very, very much for your time and attention. As always, please remember all of the instructions that I have given you, and we will see you at 1:30. Thank you. Please be seated. Mr. Larry, why don't you tell me, well, actually, first of all, Ms. Stone, have you had whatever it is marked for exhibits?
I have them all present, Your Honor. I can have them marked.
Okay. That way we can refer to exhibit numbers and be clear about what we're referring to.
Do you remember which one it was marked as, Tim? Which one you were? Bell one. Start that one,
I'm very confident. We'll know relatively quickly.
What's that?
I'm relatively confident it's
Okay.
that one. I rolled through all three of them, so. Would you like me to make a record?
I was just going to get them marked, and so you can use the exhibit number that they're now marked with as you make your record. I don't know if you'd like to come forward and look at them, so.
All right, so there was a lot that happened, and our feed
So-
went down. I was still listening and watching
The
it, so this
state
is all
has
outside the presence of the
three
jury. So we're going to hang here.
clips from Officer Bell's body-worn video. And clip 1 is Exhibit 96. Clip 2 is 97. And then 98 for clip 3.
All right.
In terms of the, are you fine with me making this record? Okay. And so the state has provided me with, we had a 52-minute section of body-worn video. It's not clear on that, but we know from our discussions that Exhibit 96 is 5 minutes and 54 seconds to 8 minutes and 19 seconds on the greater clip. Exhibit 97 is 12:13 to 13:34. And finally, Exhibit 98 is 15 seconds long, 14:30 to 14:45. So the first clip is, if I do my math correctly, about 2 minutes and 23 seconds long. The concern that I have with that is there's an extended period of time of my client wailing, kind of yelling off into the distance to what I presume is the officers off camera, detaining Mr. Ali, basically saying, "My husband, release my husband, release my husband." My client is not, and I just pulled this up, otherwise I would have sent this around earlier, so I apologize for that. My client is not charged with obstructing, but State versus EJJ, which, and I apologize, I have not given the state a copy of this. It's a Supreme Court case from 2015, 183 Washington 2nd, 497. And in that case, either a sister, a relative, or a friend of the juvenile was yelling at the officers while they were detaining somebody. And the Supreme Court held that bystanders have a right to yell and project and express their displeasure at an appropriate distance, and that can't constitute obstructing. Not directly on point, but, so my concern here is what the relevance is of her yelling and essentially exercising her First Amendment right to the officers to release her husband. Now, I do appreciate the flip side of the coin, which is the state is going to argue that she was somehow not concerned about her daughter at the time where she's yelling for them to release her husband. The distinction I would make here is that you can do both, and she can still be concerned about her daughter, but what is happening directly in front of her, the detention of her husband, the arrest of her husband after he had been punched and kicked repeatedly, she has a right to express that displeasure and her concern for her husband's well-being. I don't think that it is consciousness of guilt or consciousness of disregard for her daughter. We know in terms of timing from other witnesses that this occurred after she had already been gone to the school and turned away, which is going to be discussed as a part of the burglary allegation tomorrow. And so as she returns and sees him being lifted, after he's been lifted from the ground and taken, that she is then wailing. I'm concerned at just the length of it. It feels like it's about a minute and a half, but we'll be able to actually time it when we play it. So that is my concern. One, it's relevant. Two, it's unduly prejudicial. And I think it comments on her First Amendment privilege right to express her displeasure with the officer's decision to detain her husband. I just don't think that it is sufficiently relevant to somehow suggest that she is not also concerned about her daughter and therefore would be unduly prejudicial.
All right. Let's go ahead and publish the exhibit so that I can watch it.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, may I approach the ground?
Yes.
And this is Exhibit 96.
Just wait right there for right now. I know, and I'm asking you what you're gonna go to jail. You are gonna go to jail. Let go of my hand. Let go of my hand. No. Right here. That's fine, because right now he's being detained for a criminal investigation. And as of right now, until we get to the bottom of this, okay? Okay, that's for us to determine. That's for us to stop. Stop. Is in the office, correct? Yes. Okay. Is she with the boy? All the way leaving the office. That's where, can we keep Fatima in there until we get additional money?
Ms. Stone, response to Mr. Leary's argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's a couple of things that this addresses in terms of relevance. First of all, she's not being charged with obstruction, so while I appreciate the cite that Mr. Leary has provided, it's not applicable to the question that is before the court. I would note too, in that case, EJJ, at least as I recall it, and in my quick recall of it, that sister is yelling at officers while the defendant is being detained, and then ultimately the sister is obstructed, is charged with obstruction, and the question was whether that was actual obstruction in that case, and whether essentially there was a sufficiency of the evidence argument as to that behavior. That is not what is presented here. When we talk about this case, first of all, at the time, Ms. Ali was not arrested for that behavior. The officer informed her she potentially could be, but she certainly was not. The officers were trying to engage with her. And you saw Officer Dawes, who was the officer observed on body cam, stepping in front of the women. This is Zahraa Ali, Ali, saying, "Can you tell me what happened?" and trying to engage with them, and just the constant yelling, "This is my husband, leave him alone, leave him alone." Notably, in terms of relevance, that demeanor and the expression of that demeanor and the expression of how Mrs. Ali prioritized the people in her family on this day specifically was very different for Fatima than it was for her husband. We are going to, I anticipate, see the videos tomorrow from the burglary, for the burglary charge from the Timberline High School. This behavior seen as it relates to Mr. Ali is grossly different from the state's perspective than the behavior presented when she goes to get a hold of her child. There is a concern, there is almost a panic here when we observe State's Exhibit 96. That does not appear to be present when she is trying to make contact with her child. So the relevance specifically to demeanor and how she presents here is fair for the state to inquire about. Additionally, throughout the course of the trial thus far, Mr. Leary, and understandably so, but his questions have been focused with witnesses upon how what Mrs. Ali has said to demonstrate caring for her daughter and who she was worried about during those events. So he has presented that as part of the defense. This is, from the state's perspective, in contrast with that, not just the demeanor, but the forcefulness in which that is expressed. Additionally, there has been consistent argument there has been consistent questioning, and I anticipate argument at the end of this as to how much English Mrs. Ali understands, how she engages with people in English, and whether she can be held essentially accountable for understanding the orders that she has been given. This is a very good demonstration from the state's perspective as to how she engages with English, when she engages, and when she does it for the purposes that suits her. Additionally, during the course of that, certainly she does not come back from being turned away at the office and start demanding that law enforcement tell her about the condition of her daughter. She is only demanding for her husband to be let go. So there's a lot of contrasting things that are happening during the course of this video, and I think it gives the jury a much more fair view of when officers are describing she's upset, she's screaming, she's demonstrating how she's engaging with English. This is a fair representation of that, and it directly speaks in contrast or in rebuttal to the questions that have been elicited by defense counsel. Is not unfairly prejudicial, more than it is probative of what she understands of English and how she is prioritizing the individuals at the scene in rebuttal to what I anticipate defense counsel is going to argue at closing and continue to ask witnesses on cross-examination. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Larry?
I think to some extent we're talking about apples and oranges. One, she knows that her daughter is under the care of the firefighters, and the school has directly told her you cannot be here. And I anticipate a witness tomorrow going to reference that I referenced the trespass order that she couldn't legally be there. So her daughter wasn't being arrested. Her daughter was under the care of medical. She had been turned away at the school. She asked Officer Chavez, at some point, can I go see my daughter? Versus her husband being detained after being assaulted, placed into handcuffs, and then taken to a patrol car by law enforcement. And the panic that generates, the two don't equate to each other in terms of she knows her daughter's being cared for. She knows her daughter stood up, ran away, was conscious, and the testimony of the condition that Dr. Kim talked about this morning, there's nothing that would outwardly, she wasn't shot, she wasn't bleeding, she was conscious breathing, running away. So, and then in terms of this as evidence of her English, we have the body-worn video from Officer Hang, who talked about, we saw what the interaction was, the question with respect to the no contact order. Her own daughter said that she doesn't read English. So to hear her wailing, saying, my husband, release my husband, release my husband, I don't see how that somehow furthers or calls into question as to whether or not she understands more English than was represented in Officer Hang or in other portions of the videos that I'm not objecting to.
Mr. Larry, what is prejudicial about this video to your client?
I think it's just, I'm not sure what it's relevant to, and then, her basically, it's prejudicial because the officer says you're going to jail at the outset, right? And so in terms of when she is approaching and says, I want to see my husband, and he tells her, his response is, you're going to jail. And then her continued, wailing and just basically saying, release my husband, release my husband, I think it's unfairly prejudicial in terms of that, that somehow she wasn't taking this seriously, or that, that she felt, I just don't see what it's relevant of, and then just the wailing over and over and over again, she's incredibly emotional and upset, and I just don't see, my concern is that the state's going to say, that she is somehow behaving inappropriately by being upset that her husband has been detained. I think there's also maybe some cultural overtones as she's kind of swaying back and forth. I can't hear what she's saying. It sounds like she's saying something in Arabic. And so I just think I have concerns about the jury taking untoward assumptions about how she's supposed to react and how somehow she's acting outside the norm as she appears here, in a hijab, as her law enforcement has arrested her husband after he was assaulted. I don't think it's relevant, and I'm worried that it's somehow going to be construed that my client is not acting in a way that she's supposed to, which I'm not sure how anyone is supposed to act.
You cited to the EJJ case and indicated that that was a case regarding a juvenile who was, I think, being arrested or with law enforcement, and then another person who was present was yelling at law enforcement, and then it sounds like, after I heard from Ms. Stone as well, that person was arrested for obstruction, and then this was the appeal associated with that obstruction charge, and that the Supreme Court said that that person had the right to freedom of speech as long as it really wasn't interfering with what law enforcement was doing with the other individual.
So EJJ is the bystander who is yelling, who is then arrested for obstructing. And my concern is that the jury is going to somehow think that she is interfering, or somehow, even though she's not charged with obstructing, but somehow that she is doing something improper, when EJJ says what she was doing isn't a crime, and you can express your displeasure to law enforcement, and that is entirely permissible under the First Amendment.
All right, thank you. And I would just indicate that is what I understood from what you had previously argued and what Ms. Stone argued as well. All right, so as to Exhibit 96 and the objection as to relevance and unduly probative value. Just a moment here. An argument that if it is relevant, that the evidence, its probative value is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. And I think there was also an argument that this somehow potentially was a comment on Mrs. Ali's First Amendment rights at the scene. First of all, as it relates to somehow impacting her First Amendment rights, that would not be a basis for this to be admissible if it were relevant and not unduly prejudicial. And so I don't find that that's an argument that I would adopt as it relates to excluding Exhibit 96. The first issue as it relates to my inquiry is whether or not this is relevant, and Mr. Leary has argued that it is not relevant, and the state has argued that this is being offered, and the relevance from the state's perspective is that it is evidence as it relates to Mrs. Ali's ability to communicate in English and understand English, and also her demeanor as it relates to her demeanor with concern related to Mr. Ali versus demeanor related to Fatima, which the state has argued is a form of rebuttal to evidence elicited that Mrs. Ali was very, very concerned about Fatima, had called out my daughter, and the like. Clearly there, and relevance is not a high standard, as the parties know. I like to actually read from the rules instead of just trying to paraphrase them. And Evidence Rule 401 indicates that relevant evidence means evidence having any tendency to make the existence of any fact that is of consequence to the determination of the action more probable or less probable than it would be without the evidence. And I do find that based upon the state's argument as to why this is relevant, that it is relevant under that standard. And so then the court must balance, if relevant, whether or not the evidence should still be excluded, if the probative value is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. I asked Mr. Larry about the issue of the unfair prejudice. And before I talk about that, Mr. Kading, I did not ask if you had any argument as it relates to the issues that are being raised.
No, Your Honor. I would note that my client was in the middle of the video being walked through. I didn't see any handcuffs, but certainly he was being detained at the time. I don't know how much we can edit, but I don't think that that's an appropriate scene to have in the middle of the video.
Thank you. Mr. Leary indicated in part that it was unfairly prejudicial. Mrs. Ali was very emotional and upset. He indicated that there is a concern that potentially this could be perceived as something cultural in the way that she was responding to Mr. Ali being arrested and detained, and that there could be untoward assumptions that somehow this was outside the norms. I would just indicate that from the court's perspective, I didn't see anything cultural that was, as far as I'm aware, that was happening. Mrs. Ali was extremely upset. Mr. Ali was being arrested. She had viewed him being significantly assaulted, and she was very, very upset, and she was yelling about that. The court has seen many individuals through the different body cams now that it's available, who have very extreme reactions to what they are experiencing. And so I would just indicate that I don't think it's outside the norm of how a person can react when their spouse is being arrested and they either don't understand why they're being arrested or don't agree with it. And so I don't find that this is, that the probative value is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. I'm not saying that there's not the potential of some prejudice, but it is not any unfair prejudice. It does not substantially outweigh I find that the probative value of the evidence is not substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. So I deny the objection. However, there's one thing that I do find is prejudicial, and I don't know how, and overly prejudicial as to any probative value, and that is the statement of the law enforcement officer telling Mrs. Ali that she could be arrested for, I think he said obstruction. He said something that she could be arrested.
You're going to jail.
Whatever that language is, needs to be I know that there's an ability to redact that. That needs to be redacted. I know that there's already been testimony from Officer Chavez that Mr. Ali was placed in handcuffs and placed in the back of the patrol car. I believe that came out on cross-examination, but it could have been on direct examination. So I want to hear from Ms. Stone as it relates to Mr. Keating's concern that he raised as to Exhibit 96, when we see that at the start of the video, Mr. Ali, actually don't know that we can see him, but he's clearly on the ground because I see the witness, Mr. Wagner, is kind of in the very corner, and he's still on the ground. And then we see ultimately Mr. Ali up and walks through the video briefly. So I'm going to hear from Ms. Stone on that issue.
Your Honor, before we go on, I'm going to go ahead and unobject.
Okay, withdraw your objection.
Yeah, I'm going to withdraw my objection, Your Honor. I actually, upon further review, I do not have an objection to that.
Okay,
Thank you.
then I won't address that issue. So the only thing I'm ordering as it relates to Exhibit 96 is removing that portion of the video, or redacting that as it relates to the officer telling Mrs. Ali that she's going to jail or that she could be arrested, whatever that wording is.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then, so then 96 ultimately will not be admitted because we will need a new exhibit that has the redacted information, so it will have a different number, which we will identify when we come back at 1:30. And I want the parties to actually watch the new exhibit once it's been redacted to ensure that there are no issues to the redacting. And I say that only because in a different trial that I had, not with any of these lawyers in the courtroom, something was supposed to be redacted and they thought it was redacted and it wasn't. So I just want to make sure.
You're not
Your Honor.
in that, Your Honor. How did that happen?
Is the court coming back on at 1:30? Is that the intent? I just want to make sure that the parties are in the room timely to be able to do that.
Yes, it's a little bit afternoon, it's 12:02, so we'll recess for lunch. We will resume at 1:30, and what I would like to do is, if Dr. Gilbert is here, we'll take Dr. Gilbert's testimony. Is that what you anticipate?
I need to ask Officer Bell, Your Honor, I apologize. I thought Officer Bell would be done this morning, and so I need to deconflict Officer Bell with Dr. Gilbert. We had anticipated taking Dr. Gilbert right at 1:30. If I can get Officer Bell done shorter and or scheduling allows, I may ask to start with him, but I need to go have that conversation.
All right, so if it's Dr. Gilbert, I just want to bring her in, and then we'll deal with the video, the new exhibit, after Dr. Gilbert is done. But if Officer Bell will be called first, then obviously we'll verify the new exhibit with the redaction.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
And I don't have to watch it, I just need to know that you watched it to ensure it's correct.
I'll be back at 1:15.
All right. All right, court will be in recess until 1:30, thank you.
All rise, court's in recess.
All right, now we're going to zoom. I want to catch up. So now they were in lunch, and the reason we're doing it, we backed up because the feed kind of crapped out on us, so that's why I wanted to get that on the record. So here they come back for like 5 minutes, and then they take another break. So let's catch up here.
We were cut out the schedules. I believe Mr. Leary has an issue to raise with the court first.
Easy thing, I did have an opportunity to review the redaction. It's going to be just a sound redaction. They did a wonderful job, and it's clear that the sound is missing, but it almost appears like a glitch, and I'm fine with how that appears. The larger issue, Your Honor, is as I came into the courthouse this afternoon after lunch, there was one security officer there. I was making small talk with him about the weekend and weather, and as I was getting stuff out of the bowl, I could look back into where they congregate, the security. And on the computer screen was attempted honor killing trial with a picture of Mr. Ali and Ms. Ali. I raised my concern to him, and he said, "Oh, it says attempted," and I said, "That's not my concern." While I was upstairs,
I'm sorry, just going to have you back up for just a moment and explain to me again where you
so I
saw this.
So I
in
walk through security, take off my belt, everything, and the tray goes through the rollers. As I'm bending down at the rollers, I'm looking to my left, and there's the workstation where the marshals, whatever their term they use, but essentially marshals, running the security, they have their desk, they have the monitors that monitor the courtrooms, and then on the large computer screen, it appeared that they were tuned into Court TV or YouTube, and it was a still shot on the screen from Court TV that said, basically the description of this trial, which is, State versus Ali, attempted honor killing trial in very large print with a still photo of the two defendants, presumably from like public disclosure, like screen captures from their pictures on scene. I expressed my concern, and he did not appear to share the concern that I had, and said, that it was attempted. And I said, well, the term honor killing is not part of the trial and has specifically been excluded. He kind of pushed back on me. I did speak with a wonderful, helpful bailiff whose name I don't have, who's standing up in court, asking her to follow up with him. It was down by the time she had come, she is reported. When I was speaking to Heather and Olivia, and we're all sharing the concern about what this has, her staff, Michelle Ball, indicated that she had seen it once before. My concern, I think, in terms of talking with the bailiffs, is not when they proceed from the law library to court, because I think there's kind of a front and back and they're kind of watching. It's when they individually came in at varying times, getting stuff out of the bowl. We know now of at least 2 occasions where that description is on the screen, and my concern is just what the jurors may have been exposed to. I spoke with Heather primarily. Olivia was there as well. It probably makes sense to do an individual inquiry of jurors. Not that I really want to, and I don't necessarily know what the language would be, but I do have concerns that, 1 floor down, there's a big screen that talks about stuff that's been excluded from this trial.
All right. So first of all, I'm going to take a brief recess to address this issue, to ensure that after we do the questioning of the jurors individually, that nothing like this could or would happen again. I don't go in through the front in that area. I certainly do not condone this, and it's upsetting for me to hear that this is something that could impede a fair trial in this case, which of course is what we are all working towards. And so I'd like to take a brief recess to address that issue, and then I will come out. I would appreciate it if, while I'm on this recess, if you would like to confer about some particular questions you might want me to ask. I will be thinking about that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All rise. Court's in recess.
All right, that I'll recap real quick because I want to catch up. We're so close to being caught up with them. We're so close to being caught up. All right, I'll recap real quick. All right, so they wanted this redaction of the body cam, so they redacted the part where she's howling. But so the problem is he was talking to law enforcement, so he's talking to a marshal coming into court, going through security, and he looks over and he sees he said a big screen, a computer screen, that there's something about tuned into Court TV or YouTube or something like that. about the Ali's, Washington versus Ali, the honor killing, blah, 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 all that stuff. So the marshal said he pushed back a little bit. Marshal didn't share Leary's concern. He spoke to the bailiff. She went down to follow up, and it wasn't there when she went to talk to the marshal. Staff said they have seen it once before. So now she's going to talk to the jurors. So we're almost caught up.
Forward, do we want to be more direct in what they've been exposed to or not? There's arguments on both sides. So I just wanted to raise that question with the court.
I mean, I could ask them whether or not they have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse?
Well, at this point, I don't think we should limit it. I think we should just say,
Well, there's no information to suggest that they have been exposed to information from any other place, and we've been specifically talking about a potential exposure here at the courthouse. So I think it makes sense to actually talk about whether or not they've seen anything here at the courthouse. Outside this courtroom, because obviously there's media coverage within the courtroom.
Right, that was my only, I guess, clarification, is certainly I don't want them to confuse the question with the media that is present within the courtroom itself.
So she's basically going to ask
Okay.
the jury a question.
So I'm suggesting using what has been presented to me. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
Okay.
All right, so I would like the bailiff to inform the jury that we are going to bring them in individually to ask them some questions so that they know that that is what's going to be happening. And then, of course, once I'm done with questioning, I will advise the juror who's in here not to discuss it. All right, thank
Are we
you.
going to stand for them individually or do this like we did with individual questions where we stay seated?
I think we'll stay seated.
Okay, thanks, Your Honor.
Number one. You've been in each juror to ask everyone the same question, okay?
Okay.
Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or the courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. I'll have the bailiff take you back to the jury room. Thank
Your Honor,
you.
were you going to advise to not?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, I apologize. Please don't discuss with anyone else the question that I asked you.
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Juror number 2, we are bringing in each juror to ask them this same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or the courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within the courtroom. Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
Maybe.
All right, can you tell me what you mean by maybe?
We've been watching the national news because I feel like that's fair game. And I was washing the dishes and it switched over to the, I wasn't really paying attention, switched over to local news. All I heard was the most basic description of the trial, and then I switched it. So maybe 3 seconds. But I didn't hear it on the local news.
Your Honor, the interpreters cannot hear the juror.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm just going to read back what you said. We've been watching the national news because I feel like that's fair game, and I was washing the dishes and it switched over to the, I wasn't really paying attention. All I heard was the most basic description of the trial, and then I switched it, so maybe 3 seconds, but I did hear it on the news. Is that correct? You just have to verbally respond.
Yes, sorry. I should know that by now.
As you sit here knowing that you heard 3 seconds of some sort of report, and that was at your home?
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to separate out whatever it is that you might have heard as it relates to ultimately deciding this case based only on the facts presented during the trial and evidence presented during the trial, and then my instruction on the law?
Absolutely.
All right. Ms. Stone, do you have any questions?
Has this impacted your ability to be fair and impartial in this case in any way?
No.
Thank you. No, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I'll have you go back to the jury room. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Gosh, I apologize. I do have it written down. Jury number 2, you are not to discuss what we've been talking about here in this courtroom with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. You understand?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Your Honor, wait, I do have a question, I guess.
Okay,
How did you know it was about this case?
It was, I really wasn't paying attention, but it was something like the jury in the trial in Thurston County of the couple that's pretty much all I heard. And then I switched the channel. I was headed toward the clicker when it came up, because I knew we were on the local news as opposed to national news.
Okay, thank you.
all right, thank you. Ms. Stone, anything as it relates to number 2?
No, Your Honor. He indicated he'd be fair and impartial. It has not impacted, and based on what he relayed, it doesn't appear to be anything different than the facts that he has heard in this case.
Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Just a moment. Not yet, not yet. No, nothing?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, okay. Juror number 3, we are bringing in each juror individually to ask them the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or the courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within the courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories. I am ordering you not to discuss that question or anything else that we've been talking about since we brought you in with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. Okay? Thank you. Juror number 4, we are bringing in each juror individually to ask them the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
The only exposure I've had is, like a clip came on the TV, and as soon as I saw that it was one of our witnesses, I turned it off, so I did not.
All right, and was that at your home?
Yeah.
All right, and when was that?
Oh gosh, it was last week, like, right Tuesday. That's when I realized that, oh crap, like, I shouldn't be watching this while this is going on.
All right, and about how long do you think it was on for?
Oh, like 2 seconds. Yeah.
And how did you know that it was related to this trial?
I recognized one of the witnesses.
And who was it?
Okay, I might have been wrong about Tuesday, but it was Fatima.
Okay.
So the day after she testified.
And did you hear any commentary or anything that, any clip with her where she was speaking?
No.
All right. Do you believe that despite having seen this, you described about 2 seconds of news coverage related to this case, that you can put out of your mind whatever it is that you saw and still decide this case based only on the evidence presented during the trial and the instruction on the law?
Yes.
And do you believe that you can still be fair and impartial to all sides?
Yes.
Ms. Stone, any questions?
Nothing additional, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Kading?
Nothing additional, thank you.
Mr. Larry?
Just one brief thing.
Yeah.
So any graphics with the clip or anything else other than just that you saw was potentially Fatima?
I did not see any other graphics.
Okay. Nothing further, thank you.
I instruct you that you are not to discuss what we have been talking about here with anyone else, including any of your fellow jurors, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you shut the door, please? Ms. Stone, any issues with number 4?
No, based on the record you made, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Larry?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You can bring in 5. Juror number 5, we are bringing in each juror individually to ask them the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories. All right. I am instructing you that you are not to discuss that question or anything else associated with you coming here in the courtroom with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. Thank you. And bring in number 6. Juror number 6, we are bringing in each juror individually to ask them the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or the courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within the courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories. No? Okay. I am instructing you not to discuss this question or anything that's happened here since you've come into the courtroom with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. Do you understand? Thank you. Okay. Juror number 7, we are bringing the jurors in individually to ask them all the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
No, ma'am.
I am instructing you not to discuss that question or anything that's happening here in the courtroom while I'm asking you these questions with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Go ahead and have a seat. Juror number 8, we're bringing in each juror individually to ask them all the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
I have not seen anything.
All right. I'm instructing you not to discuss the question I just asked you or anything about coming here into the courtroom with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. Do you understand? Thank you. Juror number 9, we are bringing in each juror individually to ask them the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
No.
All right. Juror number 9, I am instructing you not to discuss the question that I asked you or anything about coming into the courtroom with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. And do you understand?
I do.
Thank you. Juror number 10, we are bringing each juror in individually to ask them the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
No.
I'm instructing you not to discuss the question I just asked you or anything about coming into the courtroom now with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. And do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Juror number 11, we are having each juror come in individually so that we can ask each of you the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within the courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
No, Your Honor.
All right. I am instructing you not to discuss the question that I've asked or anything about coming into the courtroom with anyone else, including your fellow jurors. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Juror number 12, we are bringing each juror in individually to ask the same question.
Okay.
Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within this courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
There was one day coming in last week where the security guard had an image up behind his desk of one of the witnesses sitting in the stands. But I got one quick look and looked away. Didn't see a headline or anything like that.
Did you recognize the image of the witness?
Yes.
Who was it?
It was Isaiah's father. I forget his name. Victor?
Do you recall what day that was?
I don't.
About how long do you think that you saw that image?
Enough to register his face, so a second or two.
Was there anything else on the screen that you saw besides the image of Isaiah's father?
Not that I saw. It was enough to recognize where it was, and that there might have been people next to him, but not enough to see anything else.
So it was not while he was testifying, it was a gallery shot?
Correct.
Was it a still photo or was it something that appeared to you to be moving?
It was still.
And so then, other than seeing Isaiah, recognizing Isaiah's dad in a still shot with potentially having some people around him, was there anything else that you recall from the image?
No.
Was there any audio that was going on? Was there anyone else that you recognized in the shot besides Isaiah's dad? Ultimately, the job of a juror is to decide the case only on the evidence presented during the trial here in the courtroom, but during the trial and the court's instruction on the law. Do you believe that you can put out of your mind that image that you saw of Isaiah's dad sitting in the gallery, potentially with some other people, and decide the case based only on the evidence presented during the trial? And do you believe that you can still be fair and impartial to all sides? Ms. Stone, do you have any questions?
I don't have any additional. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Larry?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Juror number 12, I'm instructing you not to discuss the question I asked or your responses or anything associated with coming into the courtroom now with anyone, including your fellow jurors. Do you understand?
Yes.
Thank you. And we're going to have the door closed for a moment. Ms. Stone, anything as it relates to juror number 12?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry?
It just makes me appreciative that we're doing this, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead and before we bring in the next person, for the clerk, although this person is now our number one alternate, they are still alternate number 2? Okay, bring in alternate number 2, please. Alternate juror number 2, we are bringing in all of the jurors to ask them the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within the courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories.
I went on Facebook like several days after, and I saw Como's news, but I just looked at it and I had close. Basically, I didn't go on and read it. I just saw it.
I need you to speak up just a little bit.
I saw the news, but I didn't read it. I looked at the picture. I recognized and I turned it off.
Who was in the picture?
The two defendants.
And were there any captions?
I only looked at pictures. I recognized the picture and then I knew it was just, I don't know why I went on Facebook, so.
Did you go on to Facebook to look for information related to this case?
No, it's like a daily thing I do, read my stuff, but not looking for about the case.
How was it that this information from Como News came up on
I
Facebook?
follow most of the news station around here, Cairo, Como's, Fox, CNN. I just scroll through the news just to watch the news. And I happened to scroll and saw the picture and I immediately just turned it on. So there's no information I got from there. Basically just the pictures.
Did you click on, well, can you click, as you scroll through, if there's something you want to look at, can you click into it and see more detail?
It should. It's the news article. Any of those, it's a link, basically.
Okay. Did you click on the link?
No.
After you saw the Como News information on Facebook, where you saw the pictures of Mr. and Mrs. Ali, have you gone back to Facebook since that time?
I don't go to that station. I went back on Facebook, but I don't see anything else.
But doesn't the news feed come up on your Facebook page every day?
Sure, but that's the only one that I saw.
Ultimately, the job of the jury will be to decide this case based only on evidence presented during the trial. Do you believe that you can exclude from your mind or consideration the photograph that you saw of Mr. and Mrs. Ali from any consideration in this case?
Okay.
And do you believe that you can still be fair and impartial?
Yes, I can.
And if I instruct you so, will you abide by not going back on Facebook between now and the ultimate conclusion and discharge of the jury?
Yes, I will.
All right. Ms. Stone, do you have any questions?
Nothing additional, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Leary?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
So right now, I will instruct you that you are not to discuss the question that I asked you or anything that's happened in the courtroom since you've come in. You may not discuss that with anyone, including your fellow jurors. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And unless and until you are discharged from this case, I am ordering you not to be looking on social media at all to ensure that you are not exposed to outside information, and you're willing to abide by that?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Stone?
Nothing additional, Your Honor, based on the court's questions and instruction.
Mr. Kading?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Leary?
Nothing additional, thank you.
All right, thank you. Alternate juror number 3, we are bringing in each juror individually to ask them the same question. Since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage associated with this trial here at the courthouse or courthouse complex, apart from what you have received within the courtroom? Media includes still shots, news articles, social media posts, and/or news stories. Thank you. Go ahead. And, sorry, go ahead and have a seat. I am instructing you not to discuss the question I asked or anything that's happened since you came into the courtroom with anyone else, including your fellow jurors.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything further before we bring the jury in? Ms. Stone?
Nothing additional, Your Honor.
Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry? All right.
Oh, apologies, Your Honor. I believe that there is, Ms. Zoe wants to put something on the record as to agreement about the parameters of Dr. Gilbert's testimony, and it might make sense to do that now if the court's willing to do that.
How long is Officer Bell's testimony going to be?
I think it's less than an hour.
Okay, well, we'll probably take a recess, but go ahead.
Okay.
Your Honor, I just want to let the court know that I spoke with Mr. Leary and also Mr. Kading with regards to Dr. Gilbert's testimony. The concern was that whether her testimony would in essence open the door to some of Miss Ali's previous history, and I think the parameters we've worked out, and defense can correct me if I'm wrong, but in essence, the state will be asking Dr. Gilbert to testify about her training and experience and the effects on the body with strangulation in general, and then to ask her questions specifically about the injuries that is attributed to this incident that is based on the strangulation exam that was done by Miss Rivas, and then also the photos of the injuries, and that the state is now going to ask her to give any opinion or opine in any way about what injuries Miss Ali could have in the future as it related due to this specific incident, so not to open the door.
All right, and when you're referring to Miss Ali, you're talking about Fatima Ali?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kading?
Yes, Your Honor, that sounds what we discussed.
All right, Mr. Larry?
In agreement.
All right, and Dr. Gilbert has been so advised?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Bring in the jury. Go ahead and have the officer come into the courtroom.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Please be seated. Members of the jury, we're now going to continue with the presentation of evidence. Ms. Stone, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would call Officer Bell.
Officer Bell, come forward, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
I do.
Please be seated. Ms. Stone, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, officer.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sean Bell, B-E-L-L.
Officer Bell, are you employed?
I am.
How so, sir?
I'm a police officer with the city of Lacey.
And how long have you been employed in law enforcement?
In law enforcement, 23 years.
Is all of that with the city of Lacey?
It is.
Can you describe your training and experience with law enforcement, please?
In 2002, I was hired as a community service officer. My primary responsibilities was the transportation of offenders from the field to correctional facilities or correctional facilities back for judicial processes. Shortly after being hired in 02, I was also hired as a reserve police officer. In 2003, I attended the Thurston County Reserve Police Officer Academy and was certified as a reserve officer. Through that time, I carried both commissions as a CSO, community service officer, and a reserve officer. So I was paid as a CSO, but I was a volunteer police officer. In the summer of 2004, I was hired as a provisional police officer, and I was assigned to the patrol division, and I worked there through the beginning of 2005. In 2005, I was hired as a commissioned police officer and would attend the Criminal Justice Training Center and obtain my basic law enforcement credentials. Returning from the academy, I went through a field training process, and after successful completion, I've been a police officer ever since.
And as a police officer, what are your current duties?
Currently, I'm assigned to the patrol division. Primary responsibilities handling calls for service via 911. Those include anything that really can come up, to include, really you could think of anything and we get it. It also includes traffic enforcement as well as being a visual deterrent for criminal acts.
And so were you employed by Lacey Police Department in October of 2024?
I was.
And were you working on October 18th, 2024 at approximately 2:14 p.m.?
I was.
And were you working with anyone at that time or working by yourself?
At that time, I was a field training officer, and my student officer was Officer Chavez.
In what phase was Officer Chavez in at that time?
Phase 3.
Is that the field training officer program you previously testified about? Or previously referenced?
Yes.
Okay. Are you the field training officer for Officer Chavez at that time?
At that time, yes.
Did you become aware of an investigation occurring at Timberline High School located at 6120 Mullen Road Southeast in Lacey, Washington on that day at about that time?
Yes.
Okay. Did you go to that location?
Yes.
Do you recall about what time you arrived at that location?
I believe we arrived at 2:20 p.m.
And what did you observe when you arrived?
Once I arrived on scene, there was a person that was detained in handcuffs that was on their stomach. Officer Hang was with that person. And then there were students, would be to the right near the inner city transit sign.
And when you say person detained, was that a child, an adult, or something else?
An adult male.
And you described Officer Hang as being present. Were there any other adults present at that scene?
There was a male that was, I believe, kneeling down next to the detained person, white male with a beard, is what I remember.
Okay. And was that individual an officer or a civilian?
Civilian.
And you described there also being other individuals. I don't remember if you said kids or students present, but where were they present, about how many?
They were to my right. There was a handful.
Okay. When you say to your right as you're facing the location of Officer Hang?
Correct.
Okay. Was there a landmark or feature near the location Officer Hang was present at?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Is there a bus stop in that area?
Yes, the
Okay.
inner city transit sign.
Okay. And where was Officer Hang and the civilian male and the other male that was on his stomach on the ground? Where were they in location to that bus stop?
Where I was I was in the middle of the street, Mullen. If you look to my left, that's where they were. To the right would be where the IT bus stop sign, or bus sign.
Okay. And did you, during the course of your time on scene, did you have any opportunity to observe the male who was down on the ground at some point be relocated from that location? Meaning, throughout the time you were there, did the male stay on his stomach on the ground?
No, he was moved.
Okay. Where did he go to?
I believe Officer Hang took him to a patrol car.
Okay. At any point, did you have an observation or an opportunity to observe him speaking with anyone? If you recall.
Not that I recall.
Okay. And what did you do upon arrival?
Initially, I checked in with Officer Hang. Want to make sure I just needed to know what he needed from us. And that's when things started getting delegated.
Okay. And so you said Officer Chavez was with you, is that correct?
That is.
Did you take statements from anyone at the scene, or did someone else do that?
I did not. Officer Chavez did.
Okay. What did you do next?
About this time is when somebody was beginning to enter the scene.
And what do you mean by that, enter the scene?
With where we were, things were right there off of Mullen. There was a woman that was walking in from the parking lot of the Timberline High School.
And how did that woman appear to you?
She appeared to be upset.
Okay. How was she dressed in appearance?
It was either a dark colored, like a green or an olive drab. I can't think of the term off the top of my head, but the head covering.
Okay.
And then she had a black style gown or dress.
And you said she was walking in from the parking lot. The parking lot for what?
Timberline High School.
Okay. And what is in the direction behind where she was coming from?
From the direction she was coming from would be the main hub of Timberline. So that would be near the basketball, the swimming pool, the administrative office, and then kind of the front of the school would be the parking lot that we were at.
Okay. And you indicated she was upset. Did she make contact with you?
Yes.
Okay. And can you describe that contact, please?
So initially, I was trying to get her to wait where she was, and ultimately I had to stop her from entering and going past me, and then she was yelling.
Okay. Do you recall what she was yelling?
Initially, she was saying things to the effect of my husband or something to the effect of this is my husband.
Okay. And you said initially, was there something else she was yelling, or that you can recall?
It eventually would change from that to, I think it was something similar to leave him alone.
Did she say that once, more than once, or something else?
It was pretty much those two things, and it was said more than once.
How would you describe her demeanor while she was making these statements?
She was upset.
And do you recall during your contact with Mom if she ever said or acknowledged anything about someone named Isaiah?
Yes.
Okay. And did you recall during your contact, with that female, if she ever said or indicated anything about to you that indicated where Isaiah went to school?
She made a motion pointing to the front of the school.
Okay. At any, we'll strike that. Do you recall if she made any other statements about Isaiah specifically that you recall?
There was something about changing of mind or changing her mind or something to that effect.
And when you say changing her mind or changing of her mind, was she referring to herself or something else based on your interaction with her?
I believe she was referring to somebody else.
You said at one point you had to intervene to prohibit her from coming into the area where things were occurring. Is that correct?
Yes.
During the course of your interaction with this female, well, let me ask you a different question. I apologize. Was she an adult female or younger female or something else?
The particular one I'm speaking of is an adult female.
Is there another female that you are distinguishing her from?
Yes.
Who are you distinguishing her from?
There was a younger female as well.
Okay, and how are you, how did that other female present to you in terms of physical appearance?
Younger.
What was she wearing?
I believe she had a blue something, a blue shirt or a blue, there was something blue.
Okay. Did she have any head covering as you described the older female, if you remember?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay. And so did those two females appear to be connected to each other in any way?
Yes.
Did they appear to communicate with each other?
Yes.
Okay. And during the course of your interaction with the older female, how often or did you ever have to repeat any of your directives or instructions to her?
I did.
And can you describe what that looks like, please? How did that go?
I had to provide more than once to not enter where now the person had been taken to.
Okay, and when you say the person, who are you referring to?
The adult male that had been detained.
Okay. How would you describe the older female's compliance with those directions?
It appeared as if she was working left to right to find a path or a way to get past. And at that point, I had a second officer with me as well. That's what I was kind of observing.
And Officer Bell, did you write a report about these events?
I did not.
How did you prepare for today then?
I reviewed my body-worn camera.
Okay. Officer Bell, you described having a body-worn camera. Where do you hold that body-worn camera? How was that attached to you?
So at the City of Lacey, we're using external vest, at least most of us are, and those with external vests have straps that are referred to as molly, and so mine is specifically weaved through that fabric, and then the camera goes on, and there's a locking mechanism that when you put it on and rotate it, so give or take, it's right about here on my right rib. It's about where it's at.
And the witness used his hands to describe physically his verbal testimony.
Thank you. It's okay. And you pointed to your right rib. How does that body camera work? Meaning, is that something that you manually turn on and off? Is it something that records 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, something else? What does that look like?
So there's a couple different ways that it works. The simplest and like the way that normally an officer would activate it is a double click of a large circular button on the front, and as soon as you double click that, that'll activate it. But for this particular event, our cameras were on, and so when we activated our lights for the code run to get to the school, the camera began running as soon as we activated our lights. And so Officer Chavez was driving, and again, once those lights were activated, there's a few other pieces of equipment that we own that also could activate it as well electronically, but this particular event, it was activated when the lights were on.
Okay. And when your camera records those events, where are those events stored?
So the company that we use is Axon. The simplest way I can explain it is the cloud. We plug them in and then they upload through the data center or however that works, but it's going to be above me. But that's where it goes, is the company is Axon.
And if you have to download that camera footage for some reason, do you have the ability to edit it in the sense of removing people, adding people in, doing anything with that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. If you do, would you be capable of doing that?
No.
Okay. And you indicated prior to today you reviewed your body-worn camera in preparation for testimony. Is that correct?
I did.
Okay. And based on your review of that body-worn camera and your recollection, that appeared to be a true and accurate reflection of those events as they occurred?
Yes.
Prior to coming in today to this courtroom, did you have an opportunity to review a copy of that body-worn camera?
Yes.
And, well, how long was that incident? How long were you on scene for?
I think the recording for me was 52 minutes and something. So for my cam, I know we left right after that.
Okay, and for part of that 52 minutes, does that include sitting in your vehicle, talking to other officers, other non-investigatory events, for lack of a better word?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to coming into court today, did you have an opportunity to review portions of that body cam video specifically as it relates to your testimony today?
Yes.
Did that video appear to be true and accurate based on your review?
Yes.
Bless you.
May I approach on it?
You may.
Officer Bell, I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 97, 98, and 104.
I'm going to ask that you review those silently to yourself for a moment and then look up at me when you're done, please, sir. Officer Bell, do you recognize what I've handed you there?
Yes.
And what are those?
Those are electronic jump drives that contain things that I looked at this morning.
Okay. And when you say looked at this morning, looked at where this morning?
In prosecutor's office.
Okay. And how do you know that those are the same ones?
On the back, the green tabs, my initial SB and the date 7/21/2025 is listed on all three.
Okay. And based on your review of those exhibits, did those appear to be true and accurate copies of the events about which you've been testifying and the body camera footage you've also testified as to reviewing on your own system prior to coming to today?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time the state would move to admit State's Exhibits 97, 98, and 104.
Any objection, Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry?
Nothing additional.
97, 98, and 104 shall be admitted.
May I retrieve those and publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Officer Bell, do you recall as it relates to State's Exhibit 104, does that video occur during the course of your interaction prior to State's Exhibits 97 and 98 or after? Do you recall?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. Officer Bell, I'm going to start with State's Exhibit 104, and then I have some questions for you afterwards.
I know. I'm with it. Hey, just wait right there. Just wait right there for right now. I know, and I'm asking you what you're gonna let go of my hand. Let go of my hand. Right here. That's fine, but right now he's being detained for a criminal investigation. And as of right now, until we get to the bottom of this, okay? is in the office, correct? Yes. Okay, is she with the boy? No way Lee was around. That's fair. Can we keep Fatima in there until we get the issue out?
And Officer Bell, when you were talking about the two women, are those the two women that you previously referenced as in blue, and then the individual, the older female in the, I believe you said olive drab head covering? Are those the two women you were talking about?
Yes.
Upon reviewing that, does that happen earlier or later in your arrival at that scene?
That is going to be right about arrival.
Okay. And published in States Exhibit 97.
Hey, Sean, I'm a police officer, Lacey PD. Okay, well, so here's what's going on. We need to figure out what happened out here. And I know what. I know, in Fatima, right? And so she's in the office. She's safe. She's safe. Okay, guys, so here's what's going on. Something happened out here that could potentially be a crime. So with it potentially being a crime right now, okay.
Keep him in the house. They keep it for her. You don't go. No.
Okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
They keep talking without that. He changed the mind. He changed the mind.
Zahraa?
It's her changing.
Zahraa, will you look at Zahraa? Look at me, okay? We're gonna get to the bottom of this. So she told me that you have asthma. Is that correct? So being worked up, Zahraa. You being worked. I'm trying to, but I want to help you first. Zahraa. As of right now, he's being detained. It doesn't mean he's going anywhere. We're in the middle of investigating this, and right now you cannot see him. But if you try to go interfere, you could get in trouble. Who does? Dad's telling you to go home. Okay, well then we'll work through that in a minute.
And previously, Officer Bell, you talked about there being an indication that the older female. Did you get a name for the older female?
It was Zahraa, or if I'm saying it correctly.
Okay. So when Zahraa was talking to you previously, you indicated that she had said something along the lines of he changed her mind. Is that the time frame that you were referencing?
It was.
Okay. I'm publishing States Exhibit 98.
Just a moment.
Yes.
This screen is not working. Can you start over,
I will,
please?
Your Honor. Publishing States Exhibit 98.
Yes. I still here. He changed that. His name is Isaiah James Williams.
And so earlier you testified as well that Zahraa had pointed towards the school and referenced Isaiah as a student at the school. Is that the portion that you were referencing there as well?
Yes.
Okay.
At any point, Officer Bell, did you actually go into the school or make contact with anyone inside the school?
Yes.
And who did you make contact with?
When I checked in with the school, I'd check in with Sergeant Landwirl and then Lacey Fire.
Was that after or before that interaction? If you remember.
I think it's going to be towards the end of all of my interactions.
Okay, so somewhere towards the end of that 52 minutes that you've referenced, that's when you believe you were in
That's
school.
I think so.
Okay. What did you do when you checked in with them? I mean, what was the purpose of that? What was the intent?
I was checking in to make sure that we still had a safe scene.
Okay. Did you observe Fatima or anyone by the name of Fatima Ali at any point during your interaction with the school itself?
When I was inside the school, who I believed to be Fatima was down a hallway and I didn't see them at the time. It was eventually when they brought her out on the gurney and brought her out to the ambulance.
So when you initially saw Fatima, or when you recognized seeing Fatima, it was already on the gurney and going into the ambulance?
That's what I think. That's what I believe.
Did you see anyone else loaded onto a gurney and taken into an ambulance besides one individual?
I did not.
Okay.
You may.
Officer Bell, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 85 to 95. Will you look at those silently to yourself for a moment, please, sir, and then look up at me when you're done. Officer Bell, do you recognize what I've handed you?
They appear to be screenshots from my body-worn camera.
Okay. And based on your review of your body-worn camera, do those appear to be true and accurate screenshots from the body-worn camera for the incident about which you've been testifying today?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to admit State's Exhibits 85 through 95.
Mr. Kading, any objection?
No objection.
Mr. Larry? 85 through 95 shall be admitted.
I'm going to request permission to retrieve and publish.
You may.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Officer Bell, I'm showing you for State's Exhibit 85. I'd ask you to orient the jury, please, to what they're looking at here.
If you're looking at this particular, this is me being in the roadway of Mullen Road. I'm going to be in front of Timberline High School. More or less straight in front of me, you can see Officer Hang, the person that I described on the ground, and the other male. You can see the students on the right.
Okay, and is that the bus stop on the right-hand side of the photograph to which you've been referencing? The bus stop area here?
Yes.
Okay. And just so that we understand what we're looking at in terms of some of the markings on this exhibit, and I'm going to ask you when, if you're describing something in the exhibit, to indicate where geographically on the picture we are. Upper right-hand quadrant, center of the photo, bottom left. Does that make sense? I'll give you an example, okay? So up here in the upper right-hand side of the photograph, there are some markings. What do those markings indicate?
So the big yellow triangle is Axon's logo.
Okay.
If you read it from the top line, left to right, 2024, 10-18. Timestamp's going to be 14, 20, 23. So we're using military time. So the 14 representing the 2 o'clock, 20 being the minute, and then the second counter is going to be the last number. I am unaware or unfamiliar with the minus 0700 is. And then the bottom with the axon body 3. I'm assuming that's the style of camera and potentially the serial number, but I'm uncertain about that X number on that's to the right of body 3.
Okay. And as you're looking at this, there is a runner across the bottom. Do you see that?
Yes.
And what does that runner indicate to across the bottom?
So normally that runner is going to indicate where we're at within my time frame of the video. So it's been recording for 4 minutes and 43 seconds is the time that I see on the left. And on the outside right is 52:36.
Okay. And is that the 52 minutes that you indicated you were recall being on scene for?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated, I believe, at the beginning when your cameras come on and start recording, it's attached to the lights on your vehicle. Is that correct?
In this particular scenario, yes.
Okay. And so will that then also include part of your drive to that location?
Oh yeah, yes.
So you haven't, if I understand your testimony correctly, you haven't actually been on scene for 4 minutes and 43 seconds at this point. That is just when your camera started recording in relation to the lights on your vehicle. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 86. And what are we looking at in State's Exhibit 86?
So
Who
now
are these individuals?
So I've traversed and I'm almost out of the roadway of Mullen Road. The area that we're there is the front landscaping area of Timberline High School. Then you can see the male that's detained. You can see Officer Hang looking towards me. You can see the other male that I described earlier. And then there's a concrete sidewalk back there that's going to be away from Mullen Road. So that's what that is. And then the cars that you see are going to be the Timberline parking lot.
Okay, so just to reference for the record, the group of individuals you were describing is essentially center of that photograph towards the bottom. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the sidewalk that you were referencing runs almost directly across the middle from right to left or left to right of this photograph. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then just slightly above that is pictured the Timberline High School parking lot. Is that fair? So that's just above center and heading towards the top half of that page. Is that correct?
Yes.
And are all of the same markings still indicated at the top as it relates to your body cam specifically? Meaning, are these going to be on the top right-hand corner of this photo, are these going to be on every still shot essentially from your body camera?
Yes.
Okay. State's Exhibit 87. What is depicted in State's Exhibit 87?
So at this point, I'm starting to turn my body to the right. You can see the male that I described that's kneeled over there to my left, on the left lower corner of the screen. I am now looking directionally, I'm looking east so that would be Mullen Road is the road right behind us. East, you can see the IT bus stop logoed sign there in that photo. And then we have a handful of students there.
Okay. And who is pictured, so you've identified the logo on the just center of the photograph, but to the right. Who is depicted on the very right-hand side of this photograph, if you know?
That's going to be Officer Chavez.
Okay. And the individual in blue and black in the very middle center of the photograph, just towards the bottom, is that the same female that we observed earlier?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 88. What is depicted in this photograph, sir?
So I believe I've moved just a few feet to the east. So I'm a little bit closer to the IT sign. You can see me right in front of the woman that's got the blue on, and then Officer Chavez is starting to do investigative work.
Okay. And are those the students that you were referring to earlier as observing upon your arrival?
Yes.
Okay. What time are we at in terms of elapsed time from your camera notated at the bottom with that runner?
We're at 5:35.
Okay. I'm showing you State's Exhibit 89. What are we looking at here at State's Exhibit 89?
So now I'm going to be to the left or to the slight west of the initial photo that you'd saw of the person that was down on the ground. And what I'm seeing now for the scene is there's a light colored pickup truck, I would say lower left, and there's a person walking towards me.
Is that the same individual that we just observed on State's Exhibit 104 in that very first body camera we watched you engage with?
It is.
Okay. And when there's a tree trunk about center of this photograph, do you agree?
Yes.
How would you describe the right-hand side of the photograph? What is depicted in that right-hand side of the photograph?
I would say more of the sidewalk that we've described, and then you also have the Timberline High School reader board, the electronic thing. That's going to be slightly to the right of the trunk, to the left of the person wearing red shorts and a dark colored top.
Okay. And going back quickly to the left-hand side with Zahraa depicted, what kind of vehicle? You described a light-colored vehicle. What kind of vehicle is that?
That appears to be a Dodge Ram, one of the heavy-duty rigs.
Okay. What time has elapsed in this photograph?
We're at 5:58.
Okay. State's Exhibit 90. What is depicted in State's Exhibit 90?
These are faculty and administration from Timberline. Specifically, I believe that's going to be Mr. Dean, the principal, that's a dead center or middle center. To my left, I believe that's another faculty member, Mr. Bush.
Okay. And when you say Mr. Dean in the green shirt with white sleeves, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What time has elapsed at this time?
We're at 9:17.
And I'm showing you State's Exhibit 91. What are we looking at in State's Exhibit 91?
I'm now inside the office of Timberline High School. This is just inside the main door or the main entry door for the office. What we're seeing is some of our personnel from Lacey Fire. And then I don't know who the person wearing the blazer shirt is. I'm unfamiliar with them. And then I can't tell there's a firefighter on the left. I know him because they're wearing the jumper pants.
Sure.
But to the right, I don't know who that is.
Okay. And you said, do you recall if you went back and walked back towards the back side of the office area?
I did.
Okay. And when you initially indicated that you had observed or believed you had observed who you thought was Fatima, where, if you recall, in terms of this photograph, was that?
In the terms of this photograph, there's a door that is propped open that you can see behind the two people that are in the, I would say, to the left middle. There's a prop door open that leads to another area of the office, and that's where I believed I saw the gurney initially.
Okay. And what time are we at elapsed in terms of your body camera time at this point?
Elapsed right now is 46:33.
Thank you. Showing you State's Exhibit 92. What are we looking at in State's Exhibit 92, sir?
It's going to be one of our Lacey firefighters, and that's looking back at the door that I'd entered. So that's the door I was describing just a moment ago. Specifically, I had handed off what I believe to be property for Fatima. So if you look at the bears, to the bottom of that, you can see some blue. I think it was like a reusable shopping bag, I think, was one of them. And I think the other one was a backpack, I think. So I'd brought those, and that's where I'd put those on that lower left underneath the bears on the bookcase.
Are you familiar with the interior of Timberline High School?
A little bit of it.
Okay. And this area here, what area is depicted on the right-hand side of the photograph? Where does that lead? Where does that go to?
So Timberline has an open concept. So with looking through the area that you're seeing, that is their main cafeteria, is what I think they're using it for. And then if you make a right, that'll take you back to the student classrooms It's a 2-story building now, so like they have classes. Oh, they have 1 and a 2-story. There's a stairwell, I think, right about there in that area, the cafeteria as well.
Okay, thank you. And State's Exhibit 93. What is that a photograph of, sir?
It's going to be the same office with no personnel.
Okay. And on the right-hand side, is there a window depicted?
Yes.
Okay. And what does that window lead to? Does it lead to the interior or the exterior of that building?
That I'm uncertain of.
Okay. And is this still the same doorway you were referring to on the left-hand side of the photograph that is propped open?
Yes.
What time has elapsed at this point?
Time on the lower left is 47:34.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 94. What are we looking at in State's Exhibit 94?
So I've now moved to the said described propped open door. As you look down, it kind of looks like a hallway, and you see some fire personnel. You can see, I'm going to describe the bookcase that's on the left. Just past that, you can see you can make out what's going to be the foot of a gurney. Then you can see some other personnel.
And just to be clear, in terms of this photograph, you say the bookcase is on the left. It's on the left-hand side of the hallway in the photo, but actually the center of the photo in this case. Is that correct?
That'd be correct.
Is this a single door entry, or are there 2 doors there for this entry into that back hallway?
I am not certain.
Okay, well, what is this pictured here on the right-hand side?
It looks like another push door.
Okay, so it looks like 2 push doors for this entrance?
It appears to be that way.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 95, do you recognize any of these individuals?
Yes.
And who is anyone that you recognize in this photograph?
Specifically, the taller officer wearing a pink badge is going to be Sergeant Landwell. To the right of him, depicted with the blue gloves, it's going to be Officer Dawes. I'm assuming a Timberline faculty member that I'm unfamiliar with, and then we've got 2 of the Lacey firefighters to the right-hand side. So if you're looking left to right, first officer with the pink badge, Sergeant Landwell, blue gloves, Officer Dawes, I believe to be a faculty member, and then to the right, the 2 firefighters.
And is then Mr. Dean, who you previously identified, located all the way on the left-hand side of that photo?
It appears that way, yes.
And in this photo on the right-hand side, is that ambulance still present?
Yeah, you can, if you look to the right, you can see my gloved hand underneath what would be my palm. You could see something red. That's going to be one of the doors.
Okay, and your palm is that blue glove all the way on the top right-hand corner, is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and what time are we looking at this at on your body camera?
Elapsed
Time elapsed, yes, sir.
is 50 minutes, 3 seconds.
Okay, and the total video itself is 52:36, is that correct?
Yes.
Officer Bell, at any point during your interaction with Mrs. Ali, did she ever indicate to you or anyone else that you would have personally heard the fact that her husband had been choking her daughter?
No.
At any point during your interaction with Mrs. Ali that you would have, or with anyone else that you would have personally heard, did you hear Mrs. Ali indicate that her daughter had been unconscious at any point?
No.
Did Mrs. Ali ever ask you or anyone else that you would have personally heard specifically about the health and welfare of her daughter, Fatima?
No.
How long into your investigation on this scene did you, until you found out that there had been an injury to Fatima?
Towards the very end.
Did that come from anyone in her family?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Members of the jury, I know that you came into the courtroom well past 1:30, but we started at 1:30 this afternoon. So it is 3:05 and time for our afternoon recess. I'm going to ask the bailiff to come forward and take you back for a 15-minute recess, and then we will continue with this officer's testimony.
All right, I know I can zoom because we're a little bit behind. I just want to remind you guys, if you're new coming into our chat, we don't tolerate, racial slurs, bigotry, cultural, country. Just don't do that. We're gonna delete your message. We're
Officer,
gonna
you
time
may
you
step
out.
down during our break. We'll be in recess for 15 minutes.
And we'll ban you eventually. What we have here is a community that uplifts each other. We don't attack each other. So just be aware that if you're throwing around racial slurs or bigotry of any manner, that we will delete that, and then we will time you out, and then we'll ban you. So just so you guys know where we come from. All right, and on that, we are caught up. Very cool. All right, so here we go. So we went through all the jurors. I totally forgot about that. So I got all of them. Okay, so the judge is going to ask if you've been exposed to media coverage or info. So since the beginning of this trial, have you been exposed to any media coverage here at the courthouse? Because Mr. Leary said as he was coming in, the security guard had the trial up on his computer screen, and it seemed like it was court TV, right? So the first juror was female, said no. Second juror was male. He said maybe. He said watching national news because I feel that's fair game. He was washing the dishes, and then it went to the local news, and he heard most basic description, maybe 3 seconds, and he got rid of that. So he said he was headed towards the clicker when he heard a few words. All right, so the juror number 3 was a possible female. I couldn't hear, so to me it was a very soft-spoken male or a female, because it sounded like it was a female. That person, I'm going to go with the she, has not seen anything. Juror number 4 was definitely female. She said a clip came on and she turned it off. It was last week at her home. She said it was about 2 seconds. She said she recognized a witness, and it was Fatima on the stand. Didn't hear her speaking though. How did he recognize it was Fatima? Unless it said it, because remember, court TV isn't supposed to show their faces. All right, juror number 5 was a male. Juror number 6, I couldn't hear. Juror number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 were all males. So by my count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 males, and only 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 females. That was my count. So juror number 12, so one day he was coming in last week, security guard had an image up on his computer of a witness, and he got one quick look and he looked away. It was Isaiah's father. You remember that? They were showing Isaiah's father. What was his name? I want to say Victor. Was his name Victor? Yeah, Victor Barnes. So Victor was in the gallery. So that's all he saw. So, and then alternate juror number 2, he's the one that went on Facebook. He said he went on Facebook a few days after it started. He said he saw some news, but he didn't read it. He said he saw 2 defendants, only looked at pictures, and doesn't know why he was on Facebook. He says it's a daily thing, and he wasn't looking for this trial. So the judge is like, you are ordered not to be on social media. So alternate juror number 3, she's a female as well. Then the jury comes back in. So now we're listening to Officer Sean Bell. He basically has the body cam of Zahraa and the daughter. They argued about this. Was it prejudicial of her, high-pitched, hysterically, calling for her husband and not calling for Fatima? And eventually it did come in. There was a little bit that was redacted. The judge did want a little bit redacted. Law enforcement say she's going to jail. That needs to be redacted. Even though they said that, even though he said, if you try to intervene, you could get in trouble. So he did end up saying that. Oh, court's back.
So I became aware of an issue that I need to address with those recording our proceeding. If I could have the representative from Court TV come forward, please. I'll just have you come up to the podium. A law student from the University of Kentucky is apparently watching the live stream on Court TV, indicating that she is able to see the rules of evidence being applied in real trials. She's taking the bar exam next week, so this proceeding is educational. She indicated that the names of minors are not being redacted in the live stream. And that's what needs to be addressed, because I specifically indicated that they could not be used.
Yes, ma'am. This has come to my attention too. I thought that the names are being redacted. We have done everything possible to ensure that that doesn't happen real time in the courtroom. But there are some times that the testimony is coming so fast that we can't capture all of the names, so we use our safeguard of with the delayed broadcast. But unfortunately, I'm trying to get more information about what's happening with our live stream, so that's what I was in the process of sending an email to our folks back in Atlanta to figure that out.
All right. So I'm not going to allow you to live stream if this is violated again. And so specifically, minors are to be protected. And there's a strong public policy in favor of protecting minors and their names. They can't be photographed. None of the exhibits that have the minors in it, because they deserve a right to privacy, despite the fact that this is a public trial. And so I do not believe that our current witness, other than potentially referencing the alleged victim with the initials FA, and potentially a reference to another minor IW, that there should be a reference to any youth. But if you can't ensure that the names are redacted in real time, and however you're recording this and live streaming it, then I have to revoke the permission, because those rules have to be followed.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we are going to follow the rules, and I'm going to ensure that this doesn't happen going forward.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Stone, anything on this issue?
Nothing additionally, Your Honor. Thank you. I wasn't aware, so I appreciate the court's bringing that to our attention.
Mr. Kading, anything further? Mr. Larry?
No, Your Honor.
Go ahead and bring the jury in, and if you could bring the witness back in to return to the stand.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So apparently they were showing minors' names? No, I don't remember that. I don't remember them showing minors' names. You guys remember that? And there, absolutely, there's got to be a delay. That's what I was figuring. I don't know how long the delay is. It's their safeguard. It's not a court-appointed delay. It's their safeguard. So maybe it's 30 seconds, maybe a minute. I really don't know. Generally, there is a delay. I remember with Sarah Boone, there was about a minute to 2 minute delay, and that was not court ordered. That's just in general. It's just a delay. So, yeah, it was definitely the juveniles. It was the minors. Minors, they had their names. I don't remember that. Minors' names are not being redacted from the live stream. I don't remember that. I haven't seen any names yet. Yeah, they would say a couple names. They'd say like But they didn't give the full name. I mean, we can make guesses. We know Isaiah's father's name. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer there. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, some judges have a 30-minute delay. You know.
Please be seated. Mr. Kading, cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Officer Bell.
Good afternoon, sir.
You indicated you were a field training officer, right?
I am.
And you're an experienced officer, been around for, it sounds like 22 years doing police work?
Been in law enforcement for 23, yes.
Okay. And during that time, you've investigated many cases, right?
I have.
Okay. And just so we're clear, in this case, Officer Chavez is under your supervision, essentially, this day?
Yes.
Okay. And did it occur to you to tell her to maybe separate the witnesses before she interviewed them?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Could you please repeat the question?
Did it occur to you to tell her to separate the witnesses before she interviewed them?
No.
Okay. And do you typically then interview witnesses in a group?
No.
Okay. And when you arrived on scene, were you assigned any particular duties?
No.
Okay. And so you were kind of, it looks like from the videos and things, you were kind of walking around the parking lot?
Yes.
And up to the school?
Yes.
And talking to all the other officers there?
Yes.
Okay. And during that time, was Officer Chavez with you, or was she off doing other things?
She was off doing other things.
Okay. And so, did you know that she was out of paper to write witness statements?
No, I was not.
Okay. You mentioned in your testimony there was a truck parked there right near where everything was happening, right? You described it. It was a silver truck, I believe.
Light colored?
Yeah, light colored. Okay. And did you eventually determine or find out that that was Mr. Ali?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you ever take a witness statement that day?
No.
And did you see Mr. Ali when he was transported to the patrol car?
Could you re-clarify that question?
Mr. Ali, did you see him get transported to the patrol car when he was taken away?
I don't understand the question.
Did you see him walk past you?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, had you talked to any officers about what had happened at the scene?
At that time, no.
Okay. All right. And did you eventually come to know that Mr. Ali had been kicked and hit in the head?
Towards the end.
Towards the end, okay. And when you say towards the end, you mean of the 52 minutes you were there?
Yes.
Okay. And at the end of those 52 minutes, was he still there in the patrol car, or was he gone by that point?
I'm not aware.
Okay. All right. And you went up to the school office at some point, we saw in the pictures, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when you were up there, did you talk to any witnesses up there?
I don't recall.
Okay. All right. So, clarify if I'm wrong, but it doesn't sound like you did any independent investigation in this case, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And was Officer Chavez, were you riding in the same car as her?
I was.
Okay. And so did you leave at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Larry, cross-examination.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here. You've been here all day, right?
Yes, sir, I have.
I appreciate it. Did you work last night?
No, I did not.
All right, so you and Officer Chavez, second and third officer at the scene, approximately?
I don't understand the second and the third.
Officer Hang first?
Yes.
And I'm just talking about in order. So you saw Officer Hang when you arrived, correct?
Yes.
And he had Mr. Ali detained on the ground?
Yes.
Did you see any other officers in the near vicinity when you arrived with Officer Chavez?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so that's what I mean by second and third. And so when you, on direct, you said that Officer Chavez was in phase 3?
Yes.
And so phase 3 of 3?
Yes.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
So with the program that we use, we have 3 phases. We have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And throughout every week is a new week. And so those weeks count through the training. So this particular area of her training, she would have been several weeks in.
Okay. And so, just so the jury understands, so you get hired as an officer, correct?
Yes.
And that's after going all through the physical, psychological, background check, all of that, correct?
Yes.
And then you wait for a slot at the academy, correct?
Yes.
Graduate from the academy, correct?
Yes.
And then go to your department and then have a field training session, correct? Or not session, but time with a field training officer.
Yes.
And so you are then teaching the officer and making sure that he or she knows how to apply the lessons from the academy and the specific rules and regulations of Lacey PD. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And that duration, depending on how they do, ranges from how long? Short to long?
I'm uncertain with the short part of your question.
So, I mean, it can be as short as 3 weeks and as long as however long it takes. So kind of what is the expectation as far as how long somebody is with a field training officer?
I think it's over 10 weeks. I don't remember the exact number of weeks.
Okay.
But phase 1 is 4 weeks, phase 2 is 4 weeks, and phase 3, I believe, is 3 weeks.
Okay, so she is well past the beginning, past the middle, and is towards the tail end of her time with you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the difference between a patrol officer and a detective would be patrol officer kind of secures the scene, identifies witnesses, identifies suspects, and kind of does that initial contact. Is that fair?
Yes.
Whereas a detective then takes the case in the hours, days, weeks, months after and does follow-up. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So Officer Hang had Mr. Ali detained, correct?
Yes.
And so you checked in with him, correct?
Yes.
All right. And so then the next piece is, okay, who here knows who should we contact, correct?
Yes.
And so did Officer Chavez contact the students on her own, or did you direct her to do that?
I don't remember.
Okay. And so in terms of training and what your expectation is as her supervisor or training officer would be is she's contacting people who potentially were witnesses to what actually happened. Fair?
Yes.
Okay. And we know that she identified, 4, correct?
I don't know the exact number.
Okay. And so at this point, are you on her shoulder, or are you just kind of in the background at this point in the training process?
I'm more in the background at this process.
Okay. And so it comes to your attention, the state showed you Exhibit 89, which showed the older woman, later identified as Zahraa, approaching the scene, correct?
Yes.
All right. And then you are talking to her and basically keeping her away from her husband initially, correct?
Yes.
And that's what we saw in the first clip, which was,
104.
thank you, Your Honor, admitted exhibit 104, correct?
Yes.
And then we see a subsequent exhibit where you're having a conversation with her, correct?
Yes.
Did you have an opinion at that point as to whether she had information pertaining to this investigation?
At that time, no.
Okay, why not?
The statements she was making were specific.
Okay. Did you ask her if she was present when it happened?
No.
Did you ask her what she saw?
No.
Did you ask her what happened to her daughter?
No.
What happened to her husband?
No.
And so in Exhibit 97, which we heard, there's some, you talked about, that ma'am, your husband is being detained. We're doing an investigation. Do you recall saying something to that effect?
Yes.
And, they're going to figure out what's going on, correct? You said something to that effect.
Yes, something to that effect.
And I will be the first to confess, this is not a verbatim transcript from my head. Fair enough?
Fair.
Okay. And she says something about my daughter is missing, correct? Do you remember that?
No.
Okay. Tell you what, how about we play it?
Yes,
May
please.
I? Your Honor?
may.
Thank you.
Which exhibit, Mr. Keating? I'm sorry, Mr. Larry.
This is, thank you, 97, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And if I may publish.
Yes.
I understand. So, by the way, my name's Sean.
Okay. All right, so this is Exhibit 97. I'm going to roll it back to the start. So we just heard you introduce yourself by your first name, correct?
Yes.
And de-escalation is something you guys are trained on, correct?
Yes.
Correct if I'm wrong, you're trying to humanize yourself, right? You're sharing your first name, right?
Yes.
Trying to put her at ease with you. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So hitting play. And so we know this is at 14:27:53, and this clip lasts a total of 1:22. Is that correct? Testing your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. And we know 14:27:53 from the axon timestamp at the top, right?
Correct. I'm trying to look at the lower right. I think, is that the number you're talking about? The lower right?
And the lower right tells us the duration of the clip, which is a 1:22.
Okay.
Okay. Hitting play.
I understand. So, by the way, my name's Sean. I'm a police officer, Lacey PD.
It's a Sean.
Okay, well, so here's what's going on. We need to figure out what happened out here. And I know it's Fatima, right?
Okay, so I'm hitting pause at 13 seconds on the 122 clip, right? And
yes.
so, you're you're using your hands in front of you. We can see that, right? And you're like, we're just trying to figure out what's going on, correct?
Yes.
After you've introduced yourself. And she says, my daughter, and then you say, Fatima. You say that. And so, hitting play.
The office. She's safe. She's safe. Okay, guys, so here's what's going on. Something happened out here that could potentially be a crime. So with it potentially being a crime right now,
Okay, so hitting pause at 32 seconds into this clip. So there's a conversation with you like, hey, there's potentially a crime here. We're trying to investigate it. Correct?
Yes.
And she talks about her daughter and Isaiah, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hitting play.
we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
They keep talking without that.
56. So she did say something about her daughter, and you said she's in the office safe. Did you hear yourself say that?
I did.
Okay. And, you know, you talked about we're going to get to the bottom of this. And so, how did you know at this point that she was in the office?
I believe
If you know.
I don't recall.
Okay. And that's fair. I'm not trying to beat you up about it. So, but you communicated to her that she was safe in the office. That's what we just heard, right?
Yes.
Okay. As a first responder with 20 plus years, starting out as a CSO and then as a reserve officer and then as a fully commissioned officer, safe to say that in an average year you respond to 1,000 calls or more?
I don't like to ever put a number on something, sir.
Okay.
A
lot of calls.
I work patrol.
A lot of calls.
Yes, sir.
And it could be everything from this dog's barking too much, my neighbor, and it's I hate my neighbor. Correct? As you kind of grimace.
Yes.
Those are probably hard calls to deal with. To homicides.
Yes.
Okay. And safe to say that no two calls are the same, correct?
I agree with that statement.
And everybody's reaction can be different, correct?
Yes.
Some people can be stoic in the most horrific of circumstances, correct?
I would agree with that statement.
And people can also be very outwardly upset and crying, correct?
I would agree with that statement.
And there's no right or wrong way to respond. Would you agree?
I would agree with that statement.
Okay. So you and other officers were talking with Zahraa and her daughter, correct?
Can you repeat that one for me, please?
Yes. Just so the record, there was a little radio traffic in the courtroom. So you and your other officers were talking with Zahraa and her daughter, correct?
Yes.
And she indicated that she wished to be able to talk to her husband, correct? Do you recall that?
I recall it happening later.
Okay. And just so we're clear, the husband was within the detention of law enforcement, correct?
Yes.
And so you guys were in a position to control access.
Yes.
And if she was going to walk up to the car to go talk to him without getting permission, that wasn't going to be acceptable. Fair?
I would agree with that statement.
Okay. And from your understanding, her daughter was not in the custody of law enforcement. Fair? Her father.
Not to my knowledge.
Right. And you didn't tell her that she was in police custody in the school, correct? Just that she was in the school.
I don't remember saying that specifically.
Okay. And you guys accommodated the request. You let her talk to her husband for a period of time, correct?
Eventually, yes.
And then eventually you walked the backpack and the bags to the school, correct?
Yes.
And I guess I should say, did you watch the entire 52-minute of your body-worn video, or did you just watch the clips that were introduced this morning?
Well, for my review, I've watched it.
The whole thing? Okay. So you recall, grabbing the bags and walking into the school, correct?
Yes.
And you did that by yourself, correct?
Yes.
Officer Chavez remained in the parking lot with Zahraa, correct? And her daughter?
I don't remember who she'd be specifically with.
Okay, but there were multiple officers who were there with her, correct? In the parking lot. And she was not invited to go into the school with you, correct?
From me?
Yes.
No, she was not.
Okay. So she wasn't, afforded the opportunity by you to see her before she went in to the ambulance. Fair?
I would agree with that statement.
Okay. Now, Ms. Stone finished up direct by saying that at no time did my client say that her husband had had strangled her daughter, correct?
Correct.
And at no time did you ask her to describe what her husband did, correct?
Correct.
She never said that her daughter had lost consciousness, correct? To you?
Correct.
And at no time did you ever ask her what happened to her daughter, correct?
Correct.
She said that she was a runaway to you, correct?
Yes.
And did you follow up as to when that had occurred? When she had run away? If you remember.
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you ever ask her if her daughter was injured?
No.
Okay. Now, you didn't write a report, correct?
Correct.
You didn't take anybody's statement.
Correct.
And you didn't direct Officer Chavez to interview my client, correct?
I don't know who your client is.
Fair enough, fair enough. Zahraa.
Oh, okay.
You never told Officer Chavez to interview Zahraa, correct?
I did not.
Or to interview Haneem, the older, the woman in the blue wearing the headscarf.
I did not.
And you talked about her kind of walking back and forth in the initial video, which I believe is 104. Let me confirm.
That's correct.
Thank you. You described her kind of pacing back and forth on the sidewalk, correct?
Yes.
When she was very outwardly upset, correct?
Yes.
At no point did she make a break for her husband, correct?
Correct.
And you had multiple officers there, and you just said, you can't go over there. And she's wailing and crying, but she never, made a break for it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Nothing further. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Ms. Stone, redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Officer Bell, what was your role on scene? Meaning like in primary investigating officer, investigator, or something else? How would you describe your role on scene?
I would say my role became a safety.
And what do you mean by that?
We had a very dynamic scene, and we still needed more people, and we didn't have enough people yet.
And so would it have been, at that stage, would it have been your role to specifically instruct Officer Chavez to go do something, or specific tasks to other individuals? Were you in charge of that scene?
If I wasn't completing the safety aspect, I would have been more direct with Chavez.
Okay. And I believe it was Mr. Leary asked you about whether you specifically asked Zahraa what she saw for injuries to her daughter. Is that correct? You recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
Was she asked by Officer Dawes, based on the video we watched, to tell him what happened? Do you recall that?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, let's replay. May I publish Your Honor 104?
You may.
First of all, before I start it, Officer Bell, what does Officer Dawes look like? How would you describe him physically in terms of presentation?
Be a white male, and he wears gloves.
And did you say a white male that wears gloves?
Yes.
Okay. Is he tall, short, something else?
I honestly can't describe him right now. He's got darker hair.
Okay. I'm going to publish 104.
There's an issue with the stream.
Okay, we'll republish 104.
Hey, ma'am. I know.
Was that Officer Dawes?
That is.
Did he ask her to tell him what happened?
Yes.
Okay. At any point during that exchange, do you recall her telling anything about Fatima's injuries or how Fatima was her physical condition?
I do not.
During the course of that, as we just watched, Mr. O'Leary asked you specifically whether they made a break for it, and you said no. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you have to physically use your body to stop them from going towards Mr. Ali, having given them verbal directives not to?
That is correct.
Thank you. And in fact, did Officer Dawes also have to move his body in front of them to stop them from going forward despite those directives?
He did.
And from where Miss Ali was, where you were, where Miss Ali was, or Mrs. Ali, excuse me, Zahraa, and the younger female in blue, where is Mr. Ali? Where is that individual being taken or located? Meaning, is it somewhere out of sight? Is it somewhere relatively close by? Is it still within view, essentially, of where you guys all are collected, or something else?
I would say it was close within view. Specifically, I believe it's going to be over my back in the parking lot of Timberline is where I think they were.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Kading, recross.
Thank you. And officer, we were just watching Exhibit 104 again.
Yes.
And we saw in there, again, where Mr. Ali was being walked from point A through the screen, presumably towards the patrol car, right?
Yes.
Okay. And one of the officers with him was Officer Hank.
Yes.
Right? And the guy that was with him, that was hanging on to him and walking with him to the car, you don't know who that guy was?
From my knowledge, it was a civilian.
Okay, so not a trained police officer?
Not to my knowledge.
Not an undercover police officer?
Not to my knowledge.
Not any sort of volunteer officer?
Scope of cross or redirect.
Overruled.
Not a voluntary officer or anything?
I'm sorry, could you re-ask? I may have missed more than one question.
No, I think we're up to whether or not he was a voluntary officer. You indicated at one point you had been voluntary police officer?
Yes.
This guy, you don't have any idea who he is?
Not to, yeah, I do not.
Okay. And by the time that that walk occurred, there were other officers on scene?
Objection to relevance.
Well, I'm trying to establish what he's doing.
Yeah, overruled.
There were other officers there. We saw Officer Dawes, for
yeah,
example.
yes.
Okay. And so this civilian guy participating in transporting
Objection
Mr. Ali.
to relevance.
Do you wish to be heard on that?
Your Honor, I just...
No, I don't want you to argue right now, but do you wish to be heard on that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask the bailiffs to come forward and bring the jury back to the jury room. Please be seated. Mr. Kading, if you could address whether or not this is beyond the scope of the redirect and then relevance.
Well, Your Honor, we saw her bring up Exhibit 104, and we saw him walking through the scene. I had asked him earlier if he had remembered seeing him walk through the scene during cross, and he had said he wasn't quite sure if he remembered. So at this point, once it was replayed and his memory was refreshed to that, I was going to ask him questions about that fellow.
And what's the relevance?
Your Honor, I was going to ask him where I was going. He's a field training officer, and I'm asking him if this is one of the things they train their officers to do, is to transport with civilians prisoners.
Ms. Stone?
Your Honor, that's not the scope of the question. The state's replaying of 104 was in direct response to the questions asked on cross by Mr. Leary. If Mr. Kading wanted to ask further questions in his own cross-examination as to something associated with Mr. Wagner, he could have done that during his cross. The state's redirect was in direct response to Mr. Leary and only on those issues. It doesn't open up so that now Mr. Kading can restart a new cross-examination about everything associated with Exhibit 104. Additionally, it's not relevant. What purpose does that serve? What fact at issue does that relate to? Now Mr. Kading, it sounds like, wants to go into an entirely new line of questioning regarding police procedure, and that is not part of the redirect from the state's, redirect by the state.
Mr. Kading, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to sustain the objection. First, it is beyond the scope of redirect, and second, I find that it is not only is it beyond, well, and it is not relevant. Bring the jury back in. Please be seated. I've sustained the objection. Mr. Kading, you may continue.
Thank you. And then just finally, officer, you indicated that you needed more people at the scene. Was that your statement on redirect?
Yes.
Okay. How many officers would you estimate were at that scene?
I couldn't give you an accurate number.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Leary Recross.
So Ms. Stone played Exhibit 104, and you heard Officer Dawes say, "Can you tell us what happened?" Do you recall that? I talked over you, sorry.
Yes.
And he's asking Zahraa that question, correct?
It appeared to be that way, yes.
And she's crying at that point, correct?
It appeared to be that way.
And did she appear to respond to that question in any way?
Not that I could see on that.
Okay. And that question was asked a singular time by Officer Dawes, correct?
I'm unaware.
That you saw, a single time, correct? That you personally saw?
On that particular video?
Yes.
I believe that was, I don't, it's hard to say for the rest of the video because it was stopped.
Okay. But to your recollection, from what you saw, was that single time, correct?
At least that moment, yes.
Okay. And 104 is when you're first arriving. It's the first video, correct?
I believe so.
All right. Now, you are trained both at the academy and follow-up training in terms of how to interview people, correct?
Yes.
How to interview suspects, correct?
Yes.
How to interview witnesses, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if somebody is asked a single question, kind of the expectation would be is that if you want the information, you would then follow up with them, correct?
I'm not understanding
Well,
that question.
if you ask a question one time and they don't respond, are you done?
It depends on the situation.
Okay. Wasn't necessarily a very conducive time to sit down for an interview with her. Fair? At that point in this whole incident, correct?
I'd agree with that statement.
So her husband is being led away after being detained, correct?
Yes.
She is emotionally distraught.
Correct.
Okay. Didn't appear to be in a position to listen, correct?
I don't agree with that.
Didn't appear to be in a position where she wanted to sit down and talk. Fair?
I disagree with that.
Okay. She was wailing and crying at that point, correct?
She was.
Okay. Now, you were there for 52 minutes, correct?
Yes.
And the scene was significantly calmer after you went up to the school. Fair?
Yes.
Less dynamic, correct?
Yes.
Mrs. Ali had calmed down, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you could have then walked up to her and had a conversation with her, correct?
Yes.
Same with your trainee, Officer Chavez, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Where you would sit down and have an extended conversation with her, correct?
Correct.
And that would be something that would generally be expected if you're going to investigate what happened. Fair?
I would agree with that.
Okay. But that didn't happen, right?
Yes, it did not happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further direct examination?
Super briefly, Your Honor. Officer Bell.
You did in fact have a conversation with Mrs. Ali, correct? You did have a conversation with Mrs. Ali. She did tell you her concerns about the scene. Is that fair?
At some point, yes.
And did you observe a conversation between her and Officer Chavez?
Yes.
And was that another attempt at the apple to get information from Mrs. Ali?
Yes, it was.
And did she engage in that conversation with Haneen and Officer Chavez?
She did.
Did she provide details during that?
Yes.
And so you've spoken with her, if I understand your testimony. Officer Dawes has spoken with her, and Officer Chavez has spoken with her. Is that fair?
Yes.
And she has provided information to all of you in each of those cases, except for Officer Dawes. Is that fair?
I would agree with that
Thank
statement.
you. No further questions.
Mr. Kading, any further cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry?
You recall the specific questions that Officer Chavez asked Mrs. Ali?
In this particular part that I remember, I was further away, and Officer Chavez was primary.
And Officer Chavez has a body-worn video, correct?
Yes.
Nothing further.
May this witness be excused?
Subject to recall, yes, please, Your Honor.
You may step down. Thank you. Ms. Zoe, call your next witness, please.
Your Honor, this day would like to call Dr. Joyce Gilbert. Permission to get Dr. Gilbert.
Yes. If you'd like to stand, please feel free. Dr. Gilbert, come forward, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
I do.
Please be seated. And you can pull that seat forward and adjust the microphone as you need.
Thank you.
Ms. Stone, you may inquire, Ms. Zoe, you may inquire when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Joyce Gilbert, Gilbert.
What is your profession?
I'm a pediatrician.
And are you licensed to practice your profession in Washington State?
Yes, I am.
And when were you licensed?
In 2014 for the state of Washington.
Okay. And were you licensed anywhere else prior to that?
Yes.
And which other states?
The state of Iowa, where I attended my residency program, and the state of Idaho, where I practiced medicine.
Okay. And how long did you practice medicine in Idaho?
For 30 years.
Okay. And what was your profession in Idaho?
I was a pediatrician in a small community in Idaho.
Okay. And Dr. Gilbert, if you could please describe to the jury your education background.
Yes, I attended undergraduate school at the University of Iowa. I attended my medical school also at the University of Iowa, and then I completed a 3-year pediatric residency training program at the University of Iowa.
Okay. And are you also a board certified pediatrician?
Yes, I am.
And what does board certification mean?
It's a rigorous system where the American Academy of Pediatrics makes sure that your training has been appropriate and that you followed all the educational requirements. And then on a yearly basis, you have to have a certain amount of continuing education within your profession, and you have to pass board examinations to continue to be board certified.
Okay. And Dr. Gilbert, what is a pediatrician?
A pediatrician is a person who specializes in the care of children from the moment of birth, generally until their 18th birthday, although in some situations we go even up until their 21st birthday. As a general pediatrician, we take care of every aspect of care. We go to deliveries, we'll resuscitate a baby who isn't breathing well, we'll take care of the babies in the hospital, we take care of babies and children who come in for routine well child checkups and any minor illnesses or injuries. We'll hospitalize children for minor infections or anything that needs a general hospitalization. As a pediatrician, we can also take care of children in a higher acuity setting. So, for instance, if a child is very sick and needs to go to Mary Bridge Hospital or Seattle Children's Hospital, those are also pediatricians taking care of those children.
Okay. And Dr. Gilbert, you talk a little bit fast, so if you could slow down just a little so the court reporter can capture everything you're saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And do you have a subspecialty as when it comes to pediatrics?
Yes, I do.
And what is that subspecialty?
I am also a child abuse pediatrician. So I specialize in taking care of children who have been injured or maltreated in any way.
Okay. And with regards to your subspecialty being in child abuse pediatrician, how long have you practiced that subspecialty?
Really, essentially, since I was a primary care pediatrician in Sandpoint. In the first week that I was there as a brand new pediatrician, the family doctors sent me the children who had been injured in any way or who they were concerned about any injuries for me to give them an opinion. At that time in 1985, there was no subspecialty on child abuse pediatrics. So as a general pediatrician, I was sent those children to confer and to give recommendations for treatment. Over the years, the subspecialty of child abuse pediatrics grew into a board certification process within the department or the American Academy of Pediatrics. By the time that happened in 2009, I was well entrenched as a primary care pediatrician and did not choose to go back for additional 3 years of training to then be able to become board certified in child abuse pediatrics. So currently, there are about 400 pediatricians like me around the country who are well trained in child abuse pediatrics but not board certified. And there are another 350 board certified child abuse pediatricians who actually went through that additional training and have sat for those boards.
Okay. And Dr. Gilbert, you indicated that you're not board certified in child abuse pediatrics. During the course of your career, have you attended seminars or trainings when it comes to child abuse pediatrics?
Yes, extensively.
And have you also presented at those trainings?
Feed just went dead.
And where are you currently employed?
I'm employed by Providence St. Peter Hospital.
Okay. And what is your position at Providence St. Peter's Hospital?
I have 2 positions there. I am the medical director of the Providence Abuse Intervention Center, and I am also employed by Seattle Children's Hospital to be a pediatric-based hospital doctor at Providence St. Peter Hospital.
Okay. And what are some of your responsibilities as a hospitalist with Seattle Children's Hospital?
We attend deliveries for babies, and especially babies that there is concern that they may need to have assistance with breathing and respiratory effort at birth. Our hospital does 2,500 deliveries a year, so we will go anywhere from 5 to 10 deliveries in a 24-hour shift to support those babies. We take care of all the babies who are born at Providence St. Peter Hospital, both in the postpartum area where they stay with their parents, and also in a level 2 nursery where the sick babies come. It's a 13-bed nursery, and we will take care of any babies who are born 32 weeks, which is 2 months early and up. We will transfer babies who have serious medical conditions or are younger than 32 weeks. We will hospitalize pediatric patients up until their 18th birthday for any sort of infectious process or injury that they have. We will transfer children who require a higher level of care than our hospital can do. And we will do consultations in the emergency room for patients that have more complex health issues, and the emergency doctor would like our assistance in taking care of those children.
Okay. And are you also associated or have any affiliations with the University of Washington Department of Pediatrics?
Yes, I do.
And what is that association or affiliation?
I am considered an associate professor at the University of Washington. The medical students who are in their 3rd year and doing rotations will rotate in Providence St. Peter Hospital, and we are in charge of teaching them pediatrics while they're with us.
Okay. And you indicated that you are also the medical director for Providence Abuse Intervention Center. What is the Providence Abuse Intervention Center?
The Providence Abuse Intervention Center is a freestanding clinic in Lacey. Our clinic takes care of children in 5 counties of Thurston, Mason, Lewis, Grays Harbor, and Pacific counties. The referrals to our clinic come from medical professionals who are concerned about something that may have been occurring in that child's life. Also law enforcement and DCYF, the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, or CPS, will refer children to our clinic. We get referrals about physical abuse, sexual abuse, or any maltreatment to a child at all. And we will see those children in clinic or in the emergency room, or we will hospitalize those children at St. Peter Hospital. If they need a higher level of care, we will send them to either Mary Bridge Hospital or Seattle Children's Hospital.
Okay. And what are some of your responsibilities as the medical director?
As the medical director, I oversee all of the aspects of the Abuse Intervention Center. We have nurse practitioners who work and see patients. I have another lead nurse practitioner within the clinic who oversees the forensic nurse examiner program that provides services to children and adults in the emergency room who have been the victims of sexual assault. I oversee a nurse and front office staff and back office staff. So we have a complete staff of 8 to 9 people in our clinic, depending on the day. We are in charge of, again, running the program in the 5 counties. So we also are part of what's called a multidisciplinary team in each county, and we have meetings with law enforcement, CPS, prosecutors, mental health professionals, anybody who's involved in the ongoing care of a child after the abuse has occurred is going to be part of a multidisciplinary team to be sure that we're giving the best care to these children going forward.
Okay. And as the medical director of the Abuse Intervention Center, do you also see patients that are minors yourself?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. And how often do you see patients?
I see patients every day that I work. I will be the primary caretaker or the primary medical provider for patients about once a week or once every 2 weeks, depending on the schedule. I am the person who does all the consultations at the hospital, and I am the person who does what's called medical consultations through the Seattle Children's Program, where we will give the CPS workers information and answer questions about the cases that they are investigating.
Okay. And as part of your role as the a medical director at the Abuse Intervention Center, and then also with your subspecialty in child abuse pediatrics, have you ever examined patients yourself who may have suffered strangulation?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And are those patients under the age of 18?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And Dr. Gilbert, do you have any training in recognizing the physical signs of strangulation?
Yes.
And what is that training?
Through the conferences that we attend on a yearly basis, there's always an option to do a seminar or a training session on strangulation. I would say for roughly the past 10 to 15 years, each time I go to a conference, I'm either presenting or attending seminars. And so I am going to estimate that I've probably been to about 10 different presentations or seminars at these conferences. I also support and co-present with Heather, our nurse practitioner who runs the Forensic Nurse Examiner program, and we do outreach education to law enforcement and CPS about strangulation, how to recognize it, and what type of medical care is necessary.
Okay. And do you also have training in recognizing the effects of strangulation on the human body?
Yes.
And do you also have training in recognizing injuries to the human body as a result of strangulation?
Yes.
Okay. And in the medical context, what is strangulation?
Strangulation is external pressure or force on the neck that involves the arteries, the veins, and the airway. That external force is different than choking, where something gets caught inside the throat and causes obstruction of airway. This is an external process.
Okay. And Dr. Gilbert, you testify that in the medical context, strangulation means external force applied to the neck. You also testified when you're giving the description of strangulation that it's different than the medical definition of choking. My question to you is, based on your experience in seeing patients who indicate they may have been strangled. Have you ever had patients, when describing being strangled, use the term that they were being choked?
Yes, frequently.
Okay. And what are some ways that strangulation in the medical context can occur?
There's a number of ways that this can occur. It can be with a ligature, such as hanging or string or something around the neck. It can be a force by another person, causing pressure on the airway and the blood vessels with a arm or a hand or both hands. It can be a knee applied to the neck structures and obstructing airway and blood. There are many ways that a strangulation episode can occur.
Okay. And based on your training experience, Dr. Gilbert, is the neck vulnerable to external injuries?
Yes.
And why is it vulnerable to external injuries?
Again, the neck is our area that allows blood flow to and from the head and air to enter from the mouth down to the lungs and the chest. So being a vulnerable area means that if there is obstruction to either blood flow or air, then that is a life-threatening injury or issue for that patient.
Okay. Your Honor, I think this may actually be a good stopping point.
All right. Members of the jury, at this time, the bailiffs will come forward and lead you back. We're at the end of the day. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I remind you of all the instructions that I have given you and request that you continue to be vigilant to ensure that you are not exposed to any outside information related to this case. We will see you tomorrow morning. Dr. Gilbert, you may step down and we'll see you in the morning as well.
Thank you.
Please be seated. Ms. Stone or Ms. Zoe, any issues before we recess?
No, Your Honor.
Can you tell me the listing of potential witnesses tomorrow?
They do this like every night. There's no reason for them to not have the audio on. They're talking about potential witnesses coming up. I don't understand. And then that's it. I don't understand. All right. So we don't get to hear that. I don't know. I just don't understand. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Let's get to Ali. Oh, I'm really small there. Let me make myself a little bit bigger. All right, so squeegee recap. All right, so let's see. We left off. Let's see, where did we leave off? Oh, with Dr. Joyce Gilbert. Okay, because I feel like we kind of went through Officer Sean Bell. Really not much to recap because she was only on the stand for like 5 seconds. But anyway, she's a pediatrician. She's not board certified because there's 400 pediatricians like herself that are well trained. She's been doing it for 30 years, so she sees all the signs of a child. But she doesn't need to be board certified because she's already been doing it for so long. Let me just we'll do an overall. Okay, so we heard from Dr. Kim, Officer Chavez, Officer Bell, and Dr. Gilbert. Those are the four that the state said that they were going to call today. To me, the biggest news was what happened outside of actual testimony. So we had a juror. Actually, we had Mr. Leary came in and said as he was coming into security, he looks over at the marshal's computer and he's got Court TV up there. He's got the Washington versus Ali up there, right? So they called in the jurors one by one. This was after the afternoon break, after lunch. So they called the jurors in one by one, and two of them said that they saw a little something. And we heard the breakdown. We heard the breakdown of the jurors. I counted 1, 2, 3 females, and then the rest were males. Is that right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four females, and then 8 males, and then the alternates were also was male and female. Remember, they did let one alternate go. So 2 of them said that they actually 3 of them. 4 of them. Sorry, 4 of them. So 2 jurors, 3 jurors, and 1 alternate said that they had heard something, they had seen something, but it was all innocent. Hey, we heard something on the news pop up and boom, we clicked off of it. So very innocent, no biggie. Both the state and the defense were like, fine, nothing big there. And then coming out of the other break, the judge said, a law student from the University of Kentucky said she can see the rules of evidence in real trial. So this is an education. She's taking the bar exam like next week. And it came to her attention that Court TV minors' names were not being redacted during live stream. I heard like occasionally here and there, but now Court TV is like uber sensitive. They're like, as soon as you hear, and the name of that person, and they're on that button. The people in Atlanta are on that button. So Court TV's representative came up and she said, we thought that we were doing that. We've been doing it in real time. Sometimes testimony is coming in so fast. So they're going to go with their safeguard, which is a delayed broadcast. And they should. There's nothing wrong with like a 5-minute delay. I mean, they really should, to be quite honest. Even a minute delay, but 5 minutes isn't going to make or break us. Now, a half-hour delay is huge, but 2, 3, 4, 5-minute delay, that's not a big deal. So the poor woman, the poor representative, was in the middle of sending her email, to her folks in Atlanta. So the judge ultimately said, one more time, and I'm going to revoke your permission to stream. So Court TV, please, please, please do not drop the ball. But apparently they're like uber sensitive right now. So they say the representative said, we will follow the rules. We'll make sure it doesn't happen moving forward. So that was kind of the big takeaway for me. Dr. Kim was pretty cool. He was an otolaryngologist. I'm going to screw this up. ATO, laryngologist. Basically a larynx, ears, nose, and throat person. Yeah, I'm going to totally butcher that. I'm not even going to try. So he was I liked him because he was explaining everything with his hands, and he was explaining this. So he kept talking with his hands. But we did have a question. I'm sorry, we had a poll. Which doctor do you believe more out of 391 votes? Dr. Kim versus Dr. Stankus. So 69% of you said Dr. Kim. 6% of you said Dr. Stankus. That was Dr. Jennifer. 15% said both the same. 9% said neither. Interesting. And that was pretty much it. So Tori Chavez and Officer Sean Bell. Chavez was in training. She was there with Sean Bell, Officer Bell. That pretty much wraps up the day. That to me, like I said, what the majority of I thought was most interesting happened outside of testimony. So, Bammy, just exactly. Psychosaurus Rex, you can tell me all you want. I'm never going to be able to pronounce that. Otolaryngologist. Otolaryngologist. Is that what it is? Otolaryngologist. Dwayne is in our chat again. Very good, Dwayne. And let's see, Joe Schmo, you're getting ready for the sentencing. Yep. Half-hour delays mess up your lunch break. Joe, we were just talking about that. Was I talking about that today? No, I think I was talking about that with the chat last week. We were saying, oh yeah, hour and a half, right? This court takes an hour and a half break. we were talking about your streaming, your coverage of Lori with Charles and Brandon, and I was telling you may have been in the chat. I don't remember that, but that hour break is not enough time. It's not enough time because it takes you 15 minutes to get out, 15 minutes to get back up. So that's a half hour. You wait in line for another 15 minutes. That literally gives you like 10, 15 minutes to like shovel down your food if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you get that much. If you're lucky, it only takes you 15 minutes to get in and out of. So I think an hour and a half is a nice amount of time. So I appreciate this Judge Shaler that allows that. Sally, I was gonna say Sally Starr. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for that. All right, Lily Wayne, you're out. Yep, we will be back tomorrow. They will be coming back 11:45. We'll be back at 11:45. Denny Dawn, I just wish they would ask if I have said in chat all day is if no one helped her, would she have more serious injuries? I just wish they had asked law enforcement. I've said in chat all day is if no one helped her, would she have more serious injuries? That's a great question. I wonder, is that speculation? I mean, that's a great question, but I wonder if that would be objected to as to speculation. I mean, they are an expert, so you could say, well, if I apply this much pressure, I'm going to get this. If I apply that much more pressure, I'm going to get that. So that may be borderline speculation. I'm not sure. Dwayne, been here all day. Chat is off. Okay. I hear you, Dwayne. Pammy telling Joe safe travels. If you need anything on the way back through Texas, I'm not far from your route. Ooh, stopping off at Pammy's. Ooh, Joe, you definitely got to stream that. All right, guys. So Joe is going to be. We'll be streaming Lori Daybell Friday. She gets sentenced Friday, 12 to 3. So definitely, Joe is going to be in the courtroom. Definitely check his stream out. Joe Schmo 88. Definitely a wonderful friend of our channel. We are a friend of his channel as well. If you guys missed the Brandon Boudreau and Charles Vallow trials, Joe was at both of those trials, and we would do recaps with him. And Joe, I guess we have to do another recap, right? On Friday, we should schedule that. I totally, it just dawned on me. Joe, we need to do another recap Friday night. All right, Sherry, good night, everybody. Been sick all day. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I hope you feel better. Janet, we're not going to do Koberger just because we haven't really followed him. We did his plea deal, but we did a dual stream today with Stearns. I don't think I can sit through 2 days. When we're on verdict watch, that's one thing, but when you have 2 active streams going at the same time, it's just too much. It's too much of a strain on me, on Aaron, on our mods. It's just too much. So no, we will pass on that. But we will do Lori. We will absolutely do Lori, and we'll have Ali. If Ali is streaming on Friday, we will definitely be streaming. We'll be dual streaming that. Do we get Kitty Cam before? They're you know what? Here's the thing, Bella. They're active, but they're like outside of the room. So it's very rare that they actually go into the room. So I'm sorry, I can't. But what I can do, I mean, I could, but there's like no activity. You know what I'm saying? Here, I'll leave you with some pictures though. Let me leave you with some pictures. Oh, did you guys see that Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away? He drowned, age 54. He drowned during a family vacation in Costa Rica. Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away from a drowning. That's terrible. I love the Cosby Show. Say what you will about Bill Cosby. It was a funny show. I also remember watching Fat Albert, and again, it pains me that Bill did what he did, but I like the Cosby Show. Obviously, well before we found out what he did. But yeah, Malcolm Jamal Warner's drowned, passed away. I took a bunch of pictures this morning. Oh, here's a good one. All right. So no kitty cam because they're not really in the room anymore. But I've got some pictures here I can show you guys. Let me show you. Let's see. All right. Hold on a sec. I'll leave you. I can't do kitty cam because they're not in the room. But here's Rafa and there's Rafa and Fed. There's Rafa and Fed being all cute. So Rafa is definitely taking on the role of father. He's starting to groom them more and play with them. And I've taken some video. I'm going to upload some video to I'll upload some video to our members only. All right, so there's that, and then here's little junior boy. Actually, so that's little Fed. That's little Fed, little Federer, little Fed. Let me see. Hold on. What else do we have here? Aaron sent a bunch of pictures. Let me see if I can find them right now. Let's see. Do I have any other? Let me see if I can find some other photos for you guys. Hold on. Give me a moment. Aaron sent some photos over earlier. I'm just trying to find those. Let's see. Of course, I can't find them now that I want to. All right, here. If I can find these. Okay, this one's cute. This one's cute. So this is Rafa and Fed. So Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer. There they are. There they are. Look how cute they are. They're so cute. Look how fuzzy. Roger is so fuzzy. They turned 7 weeks, Deborah. That is correct. Yep. Yeah, they turned 7. Right? 7 on Thursday. Yeah. Thank you for keeping track. Gerville says, I love them all, but especially the ginger. Yeah. Federer because he's going to be a great tennis player. I missed the kitty's naming. Well, we named Rafa because of his coloring, right? So clay, and we're like, the king of clay, of course, Rafa Nadal. So then we're like, so what do we call this little ginger, right? Do we call him, Junior? Because we had already we named a junior when we were down south at our other place. We had I had a ginger, and then we named this other one Junior Boy, Junior. So we're like, what can we call this ginger? So we're like, we were Thor. We came up with like Thor, Zeus. We were trying to come up with like these really, epic names. So then we're like, well, since we already have Rafa, we might as well go with Federer. So because he's epic as well. So I hope that helped. Did that help, Joe? No, Amy. Never Novak. This is a no Novak. This is the no Novak zone. This is a no Novak zone. Yes, they are fluffy. They are fluffy. Foofy. They are so fuzzy. Yes. So, all right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you. Go check out Joe Schmo 88. He'll be getting ready for Lori on Friday. We'll be streaming that. And Joe, I think we have to get together and figure out if we're going to do a live recap or not. So anyway, thank you to Aaron. Thank you to our mods. Irish Amy is back with us. I love it. And thank you for all that all that joined us. Joe says next ginger should be Agassi. Right. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you to Aaron. Thank you to our mod squad. Thank you to our chat. You guys, 11,839. Thank you to all the new subscribers. And just to reiterate, this is a community that builds people up in the chat. We don't break each other down. So if you attack another chatter, if you attack our mods, if you attack the channel, we will delete you. If you attack, if you add anything that's disparaging, religious, culturally, country, we don't stand for that. We just ask that you be adults. Don't bicker and fight amongst each other. Just realize that we all want to watch the trial, and we don't need people attacking other people, attacking the people on trial. I get it. I get emotional as well, especially with Stearns. This isn't Stearns, but if Stearns had gone to trial, it would have been real hard to keep your tongue in your mouth. But that being said, with the Alis, no, I don't agree with what they did, but I'm also not going to disparage them and say mean, culturally, religious, national things about them. That's not who I am. That's not what Aaron is, and I hope that you guys can appreciate that and just leave that outside. That's not what we're about. We want to watch the trial. We want to watch the evidence, and we base our decisions on that. So that being said, thank you again for joining us, and I will leave you with Super Ball here. This is the big one. She's the queen. This is the queen. She's a big marshmallow. Oh, I jogo girl. Yes. She's the big queen. Yes, you are. Hi. So, all right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow, 11:45. And have a good night. And I guess that's it. We'll see you then. Bye.
Thank you.